Concrete veins, heartbeat of the block. Echoes in the alley where the shadows talk. Crown on my head, fortune still in chalk. Lungs full of smoke, breathing in the grind. Teeth like razors, bite through the line. Vision so sharp, it can save a time. Jungle fury can't be tamed. Every step the ground's in flame. We the fire, we the storm. Born in chaos, fully formed. Jungle fury running wild. Cinematic, raw and vile. 808 to shake the throne. Concrete jungle, claim your own. Streets hum symphonies, tires screech a chord. Graffiti sermons, the city's holy word. Buildings whisper secrets, only few have heard. Brick walls crumble under heavy rain. Baseline, thunder, earthquake the chain. Tigers proud of skyline, hunt the game.
Welcome to the Wake Up Fatty Show. Inside the untouchable empire.
The content presented on the following show is intended for satirical and educational purposes only. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by panelists and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host, production team, or channel. Additionally, any third-party content featured in this program is used in compliance with fair use under United States copyright law, which allows for commentary, criticism, news report, teaching, and research. Viewer discretion is advised, and we encourage independent thought and discussion.
When voices clash, ideas crumble, and new truths rise. Welcome to Breaking Ground.
Black people can't be racist. Prejudice, yes, but not racist. Racism describes a system of disadvantage based on race. Black people can't be racist since we don't stand to benefit from such a system.
Capital of any state in the South, and this whole march adds drama to this total crime.
It is known in the black community that most, not all, but most black people are racist toward white Americans.
You say it's known. What do you mean? Where's your basis?
They have been brainwashed over the last 50 years or so to believe that America is a racist society and that white folks are trying to hold them back.
Started on the mighty walk from Selma, Alabama. They told us we wouldn't get here. There were those who said that we would get here only over their dead bodies. All the world today knows that we are here and we are standing before the forces of power in the state of Alabama saying we ain't gonna let nobody turn us around.
He couldn't even speak the language, but he worked hard and he made a place for himself and his family. Now why can't you people do the same? My grandfather built this country, man!
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
It's time to do.
Welcome to a special edition of the Wake Up Fatty Show. We are the breaking ground. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are doing well, friends. Before we start the show, tomorrow we have the super panel, and Sunday we have the ladies first. So we just getting started. If you're watching this on replay, don't forget to like the video and to hype the video. Okay, all the content creators are going to be on the description, so please go ahead and subscribe to all of them. I'll truly appreciate that. We have a couple of goals: 15 members and $150 via Cash App or PayPal. Make sure you support the show, and if you are watching these on another content creator, make sure you support them through to the show. Make sure that they feel supported. At least buy them a dinner. Other than that, we have a couple of guests that are already here. Some guests are a little bit late, but they're going to join us throughout this 3-hour event. So don't mind. We already starting these with the ones that we have. I want to welcome Mr. Arnold from the Turn On the ACs in the building. Thank you very much, Arnold, for being here. We appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. My boy Jeremy, aka Batman, in the building. Thank you very much. Trying to take down my background. I see what you're doing, Jeremy. I see what you're doing. Good job, sir. And we have Admiral Gibbs in the building. Salute to you. Welcome back. Styling and profiling, of course. And last but not least, Speakeasy in the building. Thank you very much for being here, sir. We appreciate that. Friends, I am going to give Speakeasy the floor because he, for now, is on the island. So he's going to have the point of contention. It was very crowded the last time he was here. But I hope that actually we have a conversation with a little bit of spice this time. So Speakeasy, if you can, you believe that feminism was not good for a woman. You have the opening.
It's time to do.
All right, so I didn't really prepare an opening or anything, but what I'll just say it like this, right? Obviously, before anyone gets into any straw men, I'm not here arguing women shouldn't have rights. This isn't what I'm arguing. So before anyone gets into that, get that out of your head, right? The whole idea is has feminism actually made women better off, right? So we should see results of this, but we don't actually see any of these. We should see more fulfilled women, stronger families, better outcomes across the board. But instead, we see women are told they can have it all. And they're working more, delaying family, struggling more in relationships, carrying a double burden to be mom and fucking dad at the same time. This all didn't exist before feminism, right? So feminism didn't remove any pressures for women. It just multiplied the fuck out of them. It told women to compete with men and succeed like men, and that's how you have to do it. So it's the question is about the outcomes here. So I would like anybody to display to me the better outcomes for women that came from feminism.
Yeah, so their average income is higher, not that far from men with the head start that men got. They're having kids, they're choosing to have kids on their own without a man present. They look like they're having a great time as far as I'm concerned. So you saying that, it's the outcomes based on whose criteria?
I mean, I'll give you an outcome. This is an outcome. How about slavery being abolished? Most early abolitionists were women when you start looking at it. I mean, so I guess we want to talk about outcomes. We can look at slavery being abolished in the British Empire, in the American Empire. We can look at other examples throughout history where women contributed to this, and they did it through feminism. I think that is a key thing. Backwards, thanks for the cash. I think this is important to look at when you talk about outcomes. If feminism affects people on a grand scale worldwide, we're economically stronger as a powerhouse. America is the superpower today, and that's partially due to feminism. I mean, listen, there is, just like Satan corrupts everything that is good, feminism has gone too far in some regards. And I mean, there's two things where feminism is bad. It's either if you're too far and an extremist, or you're a limp dick male that can't control or enjoy a woman with some sass. And I'm sorry, I like Latinas, so as a Latino, I know that they get sassy, and you just got to be able to sit here and handle it. And if you can't handle it, I can see why you would hate feminism. It's really that simple.
And I guess my opening statement would be, we need to stop pretending that we're debating in the 1950s. We're debating in the era where AI is rapidly deleting the family, sustaining jobs, and fostering systems that have become a conveyor belt for adolescent holding camps. All right. The opposition wants to say that it's declining the family, traditional models, and things like that. But it's actually just a single point of failure system that the modern world has designed to crush. Feminism is a net positive because it gives the family unit a second engine at a time where the first engine, the man, was being replaced, kind of like the buggy for the actual car. All right. And it's turned women from dependents who are easily exploited into practice partners instead of playthings, into economic actors who can actually protect the children that they already have and also provide a secondary layer of financial stability for the family.
Speakeasy, you want to rebuttal to any of the points that were made?
I wrote down a few of them here. So let's start with the first one here about the average income. You said average income's been increased for women. They choose to have kids now without a man present, and looks like they having a good time. So for these three, higher income doesn't and automatically mean better outcomes, right? If that were true, the richest people would be the happiest, and we know that's just not how it works. Income doesn't like equal a net benefit, right?
Anybody else hear that?
Housing now requires 2 incomes, right? Single income households are far less viable now, right? That's not an empowerment, that's dependency on a system. Choosing to have kids without the fathers involved, that's horrible outcomes for the children. Children with the worst outcomes come from single mother homes. So that was really not I don't know how you look at this as a benefit. Looks like they're having a good
What about
time.
women?
I don't even know how to rebuttal. Looks like they're having a good time. That's just like
what's it? So what's it?
Argument.
Are you basing this on your standard for success? Or are you basing this on what women care about?
I would base it on society's standard for success.
Or what is society's standard for success?
Usually it's measured by how competent of a citizen and how contributing of a citizen that person becomes.
So income is not a marker for that?
No, it's not always a marker.
Absolutely is.
No, it's
it
not
absolutely
always a marker for
so
that.
people who are gainfully employed are not contributing members of
It's
society?
not always a marker for it, no.
It's not always a marker, or is it mostly a marker for it?
Right. Higher income. You said higher income. You didn't just say income. You said higher income.
Right, because we
So that's
we said on panels.
Income is a marker
that
for
the only reason
higher
that their income is not equal to men is because they don't work as many hours. So their income is basically equal to men.
Again, income is a marker for it, not higher income. That's not always a marker.
And I'm saying that if I found lined up a row of guys, right, and the guys making more money, we'll probably be doing better.
So,
are you taking into account the trade-off in a capitalist society? It's a great marker.
Are you taking off? Are you taking into like? So is it if I make a bunch of money, but I had to murk a bunch of children to do it? Is that a great marker that I made a bunch of money? Is that a great outcome, dude?
It's a great outcome for capitalism.
It is a great outcome. Say it's a great outcome. I made a bunch of money off of murking kids.
It's a great outcome. But are most women killing people to get their money?
Repeat the question again, Arnold, so we can respond.
Are most women killing people or doing something dastardly to get their money? Yes, it is. That's the point you made.
Most women are doing shit that's a net negative to society to get their money. Yes, a lot of them are.
So working at a call center.
OnlyFans would be a good example of this.
That's not most women. You sound like an idiot. Sound like an idiot.
I sound like an idiot?
Yes. You know that most women.
Good argument, bro.
Yeah, because you know that most women don't have an OnlyFans.
Well, it depends what age group you're talking about. Actually,
there is no group of women with most of them have an OnlyFans.
And there's actually, if you're looking at like ages,
you mailing it in today, bro.
Looking at ages,
you mailing it in today. You're not even serious.
I'll let you finish, and then
you're not even serious today.
You're mailing this one in.
You don't even have arguments, bro.
There is no age demographic of women who mostly are on OnlyFans.
Yeah, women
That
ages
doesn't
from
exist.
18 to 25, a majority of them in the U.S. are doing some form of sex work. Yes.
Based on what? So where are you basing that on?
There's stats to show it. Do you want me to get those for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
18 to 25. Most
game.
women 18 to 25 are some way selling sex.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't wait.
I didn't know this was going to be pull-up study, but
you said some bullshit.
No,
it's bullshit. Sure, it's bullshit.
This is not going to be pull-up study type of situation. But when we do statements that are a little bit kind of doubtful, I would at least enjoy to put it on the back so we can at least look at them. Okay.
I mean, that's a ludicrous statement. We know that like less than 8% of the people in the United States and worldwide do sex work. So like the idea that 40% of an age group or even higher is doing it is just not factually true.
No,
you might be able to find one study. Yeah, he said 51%. That's a ludicrous statement. It's not even worth really considering. Any research that he shows pulls that up. I'm going to call bullshit on.
Okay, then okay. So no point.
I can pull up 200. Well, yeah, because I can pull up 200. Well, I mean, if we're going to do that, I can pull up 200 studies that prove you wrong. If I pull up one study, that's an outlier.
Okay,
cool. You do understand what an outlier is, right?
Gibbs, that's fine. That is fine. Just know. Don't fucking think you're ever going to refer to any studies for the rest of this debate.
Well, hold on. There's a difference between an outlier study and
no. You don't get to play that.
No. Yeah, I mean, sure.
Don't pull up.
I'm just pointing out the facts.
So
I'm sorry that you're upset.
Let's take away the sex.
I mean, you're triggered a little bit
because it's beneficial for women to be working in ages 18 to 30. Their most viable or their most fertile years. You think it's beneficial, a net benefit for women to be in the workplace during these times?
For the woman,
if they want to be.
For the woman,
they want to be in the work. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Listen. Look, one of the biggest problems is when we have too many kids and you're not financially prepared. This allows people to bring the amount of kids down, which I know everybody wants to sit there and go, "Oh, I have 300 kids." I mean, yeah, bro. Listen, I'm from an area where people were having kids at 15,
people have the
where
most
they were not
kids, dude. What do you?
I rest my case, and the poorest people also are the least feminist. So, what is your point? If we go to look at the countries by capita where they have least feminism, or would you say that most of Africa and South America is predominantly feminist? Which I say, like, no, obviously not. Would you say Middle East and Malaysia is feminist? No, it is. No, it's not. And they're poor. I'm just stating facts. Once again, you just have no answer. I mean, they can hear me perfectly fine.
Please, you're just doing the destiny thing, right? I'm going to say so many points really quickly, as many times as I can, and so no one can actually understand what I'm saying.
Let's do this, and Gibbs actually agree with Speakeasy on this one.
Sure.
Speakeasy, pick one of the points that he said, and let's address it. Angry Man, listen to what they're saying, and as soon as you want to intervene, we'll pull you up so you can actually address it.
It's already starting off ridiculous because all women monetize sexuality.
Facts.
All women monetize sexuality.
Right, but that's a general statement. We're talking about actual sex work.
Even if it is actual sex work.
Sexuality?
What is monetizing sexuality?
So having your husband pay your bills because he wants pussy is not monetized. It's not what you're talking about. That's not the context.
How?
That's not it. That's not what he's talking about.
How?
That's not OnlyFans. Right? That's not making a video of yourself and selling it.
So basically,
not the same. Hey, speak easy. Hey, your bell bondsman showed up, bro. Now you bailed out. Now we're gonna debate Angry Man for the rest of the show.
Bailed out. I didn't bail out of anything.
So basically, you want
with that weak shit you came with.
You want to quibble over. Basically, you want to
internet
quibble
tough
over.
guy shit don't look good on you, fat boys. Just shut up.
Whatever you want to call it, bro.
So basically, you want to quibble over minor details. The overarching.
You want to say a husband providing for his wife.
Let him finish, please, and then you have a chance to answer. Go ahead.
The overarching point is that all women monetize sexuality. It is the nature of the society we live in. One of the value markers for women is their sexuality. We can't get around that.
There's no disagreement there, but are you comparing a woman being provided for to sex work? That's what you're equivocating.
Yes, I am.
Okay. And do you think that is the same equal to a woman shaking her ass on the internet with a video and then me clicking on the link and paying to see a different video every month?
Well, what's the male equivalent of that?
I'm asking you, is the same.
What's the male equivalent of that?
Like,
because
if we could just ask questions and never answer, we could do that. We could do that for the next 3 hours.
The intention is the same. the intention is the same, is to utilize your sexuality in some way, shape, or form in order to gain a benefit.
And so, and you think, right, a woman being provided for is how her income becomes equal to a man?
No, I didn't say
Speakeasy.
that. I didn't say that.
Fucking jackass.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I'm not making the same argument he's making. Jackass.
Jackass.
Maybe pay attention to who you're talking.
So let's address. So let's
You was
address.
happy to have but you was happy to get the bail money, bro, but I guess not.
What bail money? What are you talking
He
about? Listen,
bailed you
stop
out.
this,
He made a great
internet
point.
dog
He
jail
made a
talk
great
and
point that
talk
you wasn't
normal
even
like a
thinking
human
about.
fucking being, dude.
Yeah, let's go.
Did y'all, wait a minute, I got a question.
Angry Man decided to talk, and I respect.
Y'all just started, right?
Instead of fucking
Yeah, we just
interrupting
started.
him.
So like y'all been going at it for an hour. What is?
Like
No,
this
no,
dude,
no,
like he's
but-
like he's
Welcome to the rodeo.
I asked a simple question: Is it a
Houston
benefit for women for them to spend their fertile years at the workplace? And you said yes for them. How is
For
that?
them,
How
yes.
do you think it's more beneficial for them to, instead of be working on a family
You
and
just
having
said it.
children in their fertile years, to be working? Go ahead.
You said the poorest
What's
ones
the-
have too
hold on,
many
what is-
kids. Why would you not want them to
nah.
work? Go
Yeah,
ahead. I'm sorry.
hold on, bro. So
I didn't
what?
say
So
the
what's
poorest one
so
had
what
too
is it?
many
Tell me what is the
kids.
net benefit of a
Strong
child?
it again.
What's the net benefit?
We
of a
can
child?
literally go back and tape.
Hold on, bro. We talking about her fertile
Shit.
years. What is the net benefit of a child?
Is this a real question, or are you
Yes.
just doing another quibbling thing?
Right. I'm saying there is no benefit
Oh
to having
my
a child to an
God.
individual.
No.
There actually is. There actually is. No,
how
there
about
actually
how
is.
about replacing society, you moron?
There
How
actually
about
is.
that? If the
There
birth
actually
rate doesn't replace the society that it's in, guess what happens? No more society. Is it beneficial to have a society or not have a society?
I really hope you got
No,
a kid
answer a
already
question,
and you got
fat
one on the
boy.
way.
Is
Speakeasy.
it better to
I
have
really
the
hope you're doing
society
that.
or not?
Or are you a scourge on society
Can
too?
you
Like
answer the
women,
fucking question?
like those same women, right?
This is,
Those-
I can
yeah.
tell you're a
No,
feminist. I
Hey,
can
cry
tell.
to somebody who gives a
can tell.
fuck. Cry to
You're
somebody who
feminine
gives a
as
fuck.
fuck, bro. Answer a
No,
question.
I give no fucks about what you're saying, Speakeasy.
I know, miss. I know you're a
Yeah,
girl.
hey,
I
you
get
in the
it.
fucking deep end, man. Call your mama to hold your hand through this fucking
Tell
deep
your
alley,
mama
bro.
to hold your hand.
Yeah, it's a dark alley, buddy. It's gonna
Call
be
your
a dark
daddy.
alley
Call
today,
your daddy
buddy.
to hold
Call
yours.
somebody who cares
Call
about
your
you
daddy
today,
to hold
buddy.
yours.
Yeah, buddy.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I hope you have kids. I hope you have kids, Speakeasy.
Yeah,
You better have
I mean,
kids.
I don't know how
better
he can
kids.
simultaneously at the same time though.
It
earlier
matters,
say
for
that-
society.
Hey friends,
Does it matter?
I was very clear before the show. Okay, let's get Jeremy and Angry Man over here, especially Jeremy. Jeremy, of the points of the points that they made. Speak
telling me
easy.
you don't.
Hey, friends.
7, bitch.
Hey, friends.
Got 7 of them.
Friends. I asked y'all before the show. Please, let's not do what we did 2 weeks ago. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. And if y'all can stop, I'm going to start to mute you. Okay, go ahead, Jeremy, and then Angry Man. Jeremy, any point that you want to make about things that was said, and then Angry Man can rebut.
The only point that I would make is what Speakeasy said about birth rate, and I find that kind of ironic as far as like when we want to talk about kids and having kids and family, because we have a homelessness issue for children and they end up getting put in like these camps for the state, and we don't want to have to like adopt them or anything like that. And I really think we need to take it into the realistic point of view where we actually have kids here right now. And then even for the men who might want to take their responsibility to actually be a stepfather, shout out to them, but they're seen as a negative. They're seen as a sucker. But at the same time, those women are supposed to be used for, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything that has not already.
Pill manosphere dudes on the internet, maybe.
Right. Okay.
And everybody else.
But we can agree though that it's been said, correct?
Sure,
right?
It's been said.
Okay,
but
so
that
that's all
doesn't
I'm
make it
arguing.
a fact, right?
Right. But
you just stated
as
the
we already
fact,
said,
it's not a negative, right?
Well, if you want to state facts, then we can state facts. All right.
Yeah,
so,
we're talking about the negatives and benefits.
okay. So the negative
So it's a
is
benefit,
if the birth
right?
rate, if the
Or
birth rate
stepping up to take care of children
Oh,
that
I'm
aren't
not. I'm
taken
not
care of.
going to.
No, it's
I'm
fine.
not gonna
Jeremy,
try to
let your
overtalk
plan, and then he can reply.
Yeah. So what I would say is that if we want to talk about the actual effects of it, yes, the birth rate is declining, but at the same time, so is the sustainability of the family on a one income. So in the same breath that we say, yes, this is a bad product of this, There also is a good product of it too, because we do have some women who are not on OnlyFans. The majority of women are not on OnlyFans, and they make money. Do they make a lot of money? No, they do not. But it's enough to supplement the new now. The new now cannot sustain a one household income unless that man is making substantial money. And then that depends on the type of place he's in. What state is he in? So that's why I'm saying feminism is positive as far as the economic point of view. Now, we can get into morality all day long, but that's subjective. But when we really want to break it down, the reason why this happened in the first place, so that they can put more money into the coffers of the government. And that is the truth.
So this part you just said about the workplace and sustaining a house takes two incomes. This is what I mentioned earlier. It was a net negative of feminism. When they put 50% of the population into the workplace, guess what happened? Now they don't have to pay the workers as much, right? If you didn't have women in the workforce, these men would have to be paid more. And we wouldn't have this issue of households couldn't sustain one income. We wouldn't have this issue if we didn't force the women into the workplace. Another issue is that a lot of people live beyond their means. That's why they can't afford to support a family on their own, because they live with shit they don't need. Look, this guy down here sipping on some outside drink that clearly he fucking had to go pay like $3 for a waste of money. Could have bought juice for 3 weeks for that. But this guy, you know what I'm saying? People live beyond their means. That's why. It's not that they can't afford it. It's people are in this comfortable, luxurious world where everything's just real quick and given to them easy, and that's what it is. It's not that they can't afford it.
So let me give you I agree with you on
if
that.
you make enough money, you can't afford it. Just say
let me give you a counter argument on that. So respectfully, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. But here's the thing: there's something called inflation. All right. So even if you're making a certain amount of money, inflation will make it so that money no longer is able to facilitate. Now, if you want to talk about the two dynamic of bringing in money, when did that exactly happen? Because the last time I remember, it was way before these conversations even happened, where the mother was going out and being a nanny or something like that, or doing a woman-esque type job and then coming back, still adding to it. So I get what you're saying, but unfortunately, we live in a not true Democrat like society. We live in a capitalist nation. And because of that, we're going to continue to have that inflation. We're going to continue to have that bubble. And that's what feminism actually is. It is the pop after the bubble.
Well,
if you look from about the 1970s onward, this is when the rising in housing costs, inflation, all the lifestyle expectations were made to dual income. That's when you see it, the 1970s onward. What happened then?
So see, here's the thing about that. Once you pour the sand out into the ground, you can't pick it back up and put it in a bottle. We can talk about what shoulda, coulda, woulda, how it's supposed to be, but we live in the now. So we have to adjust for the now.
Well, to address, the overall topic of whether or not feminism is actually hurting women, I think we should actually pay attention to what the women have been saying. And a lot of their complaints come from things that are the result of feminism. You have a lot of women in this day and age that, now that they're in the workforce, to the degree that they're in the workforce, many of them are complaining. Many of them are taking to social media saying, who are these women that fought for us to work? I don't want to keep working. I'm tired of this. Right. So you have their growing complaints about feminism, because feminism basically told them that they could have it all, told them that they could work a job and do all of these things during their childbearing years, and they're finding themselves not able to do it all. So that's one way that it's hurting them. And as far as what we were talking about with the monetizing of sexuality, you're not just talking about OnlyFans, right? You're talking about, like, you got to give these women credit. They figure out numerous ways to capitalize off of that. So you have OnlyFans, you have the growing number of women who have become sugar babies. You have these websites that facilitate that now. You have what we call dinner whores, the women that go out with guys just to get dinner in a movie or whatever, which causes another problem, because then the men become demoralized and they don't want to go on dates traditionally the way they normally used to. So you have that issue. Then you have the chicks that are actual sex workers. Then you have the chicks that do X-rated movies. You have there are so many different ways that women actually get paid off of sexuality. So that actually is a thing. I realize that it's a small percentage of them on OnlyFans, but they're not just on OnlyFans. You have freaking massage parlors. You have all types of stuff.
I don't necessarily disagree with the women using their sexuality to get to that point, but I think there's a more important one to look at. This is kind of what the Turn On the AC and Speakeasy were just debating. Turn On the AC said they look happier now, and I just want to read off a list of the poorest countries: South Sudan, Somalia, Central African Republic, Burundi, Madagascar, the Congo, Mozambique. None of these countries are known for their feminist values. Many of these countries have a high rate of birth. All these women are having 50 kids. Many of them have a higher sex slavery rates than almost anywhere in the world. And then you go look at the Middle Eastern countries, same thing. Women can be stoned for all these things. Do you think these women are happier in America where they could be on OnlyFans and maybe date an NFL player, or maybe just go to church or do whatever they want because they have that freedom? Or do you think they're more happy being in, I don't know, Saudi Arabia or Iran right now, and then they get stoned to death for wearing no shawl? Like, you just tell me.
Well, I think
it would have to be gay before feminism. I guess saying about a different country that probably never had the quality of life as America. You would have to qualify like a women prior to the advent of feminism, and then that would be a comparison. And I'm go ahead, Angry Man.
No, I was going to say I actually agree with that. I was getting ready to say it's kind of that's kind of skewing things, because when you're looking at countries like the Middle East that have these extreme situations, of course they're not going to be happy in those situations. But equally in this country, you also have studies, even though y'all didn't really want to cite studies, but you also have studies that have came out that said a lot of women in America have grown increasingly unhappy. And I think that's part of it. I think part of it is the fact that they're told a certain story about what they're going to be able to do as feminist women, and they find that they're coming up short. They're not able to do those things. So that's actually contributing to their unhappiness.
Well, Angry, I know you missed the opening, but I said the same thing. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I said kind of the same thing. I'm very much in the middle of this. Like, I think feminism was good and is good to an extent, but just like state corrupts everything, you have them go the extremists, they go too far. And I think that's what's happened. We've maybe gone a little too far. But if we're talking about feminism as a whole, I think you have to look at the world, right? Like, we can determine that countries that have embraced feminism outside of maybe Japan, all of them are doing better than the countries that haven't, to some extent, right? Like, economically, they're doing better. Like civil rights, they're doing better. They've helped get rid of slavery. And I think we're talking about outcomes, and we have to look at the overall outcome. And I just can't fathom this idea that even though we're below population replacement rate, that the idea that, having 36 kids is a good thing if they can't afford them. Because maybe where I come from, people were having 2-3 kids by the time they were 21, and they're all broke now to this day, right? I didn't have kids. I still don't have kids, right? But I got plenty of money. When I do have kids, I'm gonna be able to afford them. I'm gonna be able to do whatever I want with them, right? And so, it's kind of like, if you have kids when you're not ready, it's a problem. And I think feminism has kind of spoke to that, and it's been a good thing for men and women worldwide.
Well, here's the thing with that. So when we're talking about these other countries that are doing better, doing well, that have feminism, it's kind of like a guy that's working out, but at the same time he's taking a weight loss drug. Like, we could try to attribute all of it to the weight loss drug, but there are other factors, there are other moving parts in that country that are contributing to that country being better. So we have to factor that in. So to me, that gets a little complicated when we start talking about the economies of other countries and things of that nature. But when you're talking about just feminism, me personally, I didn't really have a problem with first wave. My problem is everything after that, when it starts to go into this space of, women don't need a man and men are horrible and all of these different things. And I think that's contributing to women's unhappiness too, because I think a lot of women, I think there are women who do have a desire to have that sort of traditional lifestyle. But the problem is they live in a society where they're kind of shamed for it. So any woman that, doesn't display feminist qualities and behave in a feminist way. I mean, you literally have women out here that are telling women that having children and being a homemaker is a horrible thing. Then we can go to the economics of it and say most of these households have to have 2 incomes, but there are a lot of households that don't have to have 2 incomes for the simple fact that they don't live above their means, like Speakeasy was saying. that live in rural areas, things of that nature. But whenever these women decide to do that, they're literally shamed by their social group because of the ideology of feminism.
You said outside their means, and like we just talked about that like just a few seconds ago. Like he brought up, oh, he's got a drink he paid for. Well, you know what? I don't live outside my means. I'm pretty good with money. I'm pretty good at math, right? Like I could afford to go get a Sonic drink every day. Lordy, I'm sure that $2.75 was just too much for me to handle. I'm sorry that y'all are broke and you can't afford that. But like it's really the simple things. Like if you can go and work,
bro, you're wearing a
like,
dollar store suit, bro. Relax.
This first of all, I own a leather company
You're
and a custom clothing company. This is
$2.70. If you didn't spend it, would that mean you have?
Oh yeah, hey, listen, I got your next child support check right here.
Let's do math.
Like, bro, like I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, you're gonna sit here and tell me, like, look, I listen. My mama's calling, my daddy's calling. Hey, they both said you broke. Like, what you talking
about? Do you want
to
keep spurging with your fake money, or do you want to just?
Then Gibbs, you drop the money and your microphone says I'm not.
I did it on purpose.
Spurging so hard you can't even fucking handle your own mic, bro.
I did it so we can all hear your spurt, Papa. It's called.
Go take your Ritalin or whatever it is.
On.
Are you ready? Are you ready to engage?
Is there a way to donate to the SPEAKEAZY Chewing Tobacco Fund?
Hey, listen.
That's also crazy.
If you didn't spend the $2.70 a day on your Sonic drink, would you have more or less money?
I don't know, probably less because I make enough money that I can buy with interest every day. I'm making tons of money, bro. I don't need to worry about $2.75. I can write that off on as a tax expense.
What's wrong with all you?
It's literally a bit. Oh, this is how I know you're broke because you can write off your meals.
Personal shit. As a business debate, you pussy.
Get good. Listen, I literally can write that off on my taxes. Are you that stupid?
I can write that off on my taxes.
Oh yeah, I mean, cool. So why is it? So hold on, because that this proves your entire point. I mean, yeah, I just thought.
So could I present a talking point? Could I present a talking point that
we
can?
Doesn't even know what writing things off on his taxes means.
Couldn't even know what writing things off his taxes is. As I can sit here with this fucking next child support check right here,
you get back money you already spent, you moron.
So here's my question, right? Is it possible that one of the major negatives of feminism is it has disrupted the social contract between men and women? And now you see this whole thing where we have these gender wars. We have this thing with dating being, most people on both sides, men and women, say that dating is trash right now. And then in addition to that, you have the declining family and low birth rates. Would y'all say that feminism has majorly contributed to that?
You're muted, SPEAKEAZY.
Oh no, I was just trying to confirm that because I'm pretty sure in the States it's illegal to burn real money. That's how we know that's fake money, you fucking loser.
Yeah, I mean allegedly,
just go
it's
ahead
fake money.
Everybody you flash.
Yeah, cool. Someone charged me with a crime, bro. Charge me. It'll be all right. You're all right. Charge me. You're all right. Yeah, you're fine. Because I'm bringing substantive points to the table, and you're bringing Fugazi for God's sake. You're over here getting wrecked, bro. Oh my God, Gibbs did something crazy. I'm sorry that I'm over here actually bringing substantive points. You haven't actually. I've engaged in good faith every time with actual substantive points.
Do you have more money if you spend the $2.70 or less?
No, bro, I would have more money either way because I make all that in interest plus every day on my taxes on dividend and interest in my bank account, bro. Like I literally piss more money than $2.75 every day.
I get it. Grid's your boyfriend, and you're mad at me because I talk shit about.
I don't even know anything about your Grid's and shit. I don't even know. You're the one coming at me. I don't even know.
You just engage with the debate, you fucking
bitch.
bitch.
What are you talking about?
We're going to stop it here. Let's go ahead, Angryman, please. Jeremy, do you remember what Angryman asked and what he said, please? If not, for Angryman to reinstate his point.
Please reinstate Angryman.
I said I believe that feminism as it stands today has been a major contributor to hurting our society as far as it pertains to just the dating scene. Both men and women are complaining about the dating scene being trash. In addition to that, the decline in family unit. In addition to that, the low birth rates. You know, it seems like people are disenfranchised to the entire idea of dating and relationships today.
Okay, so my rebuttal to that would be, I actually don't, from my perspective, the sexual freedom for women actually serves a man who knows how to navigate it. And I think that's what we're having a problem with right now, is because although feminism has some quirks, a lot of bad things, let's just be honest, but we're talking about the net gain overall. All right. So when we start talking about the dating dynamic, then we have this different thing entirely, where now women have the preference to choose this and the other, but men also do too. And I also say that men who actually want to get married, it's better to know that your girl is a hoe 6 weeks in versus 6 years down the road.
Yeah, but I would argue, I would counter that it would be better for her not to be a hoe in the first place. So wait, let me address that real quick, right? Because I feel like the sexual liberation thing was sort of like a Pandora's box. Like once they opened it up, it caused more problems for them than anybody else, because you have women out here that, you know, they get this, they engage in this sexual freedom. You know, many of them call it having a hoe phase. And then they don't believe, because of the fact that we're supposed to have a sexual liberation, they believe that everybody should have that thought process, and then it should not devalue them. But the only problem is we still live in a society that's going to devalue them for being hoes. So once they engage in the sexual liberation thing, then they get upset when they're having difficulty finding a suitable mate when they actually do want to settle down and get married.
And you know what I think? Honestly, the reason why I think it is a good thing still is because women actually got what they wanted. They wanted to be able to have the same decisions to make as we do. They want to be able to make the money that we do. They want to be able to have the ability to make a selection like we do. Now, some of them are making trash decisions, just like some men out here, if we're going to keep it 100. But then there also are some who have figured out some kind of way to stay off of OnlyFans, even though they got a nice body and they could make 6 figures in 1 month, but instead they go to corporate, or they get in the military, or they do something that's actually substantive, something that's good. You know, they tend to lean into what their natural proclivity is, which is take care of people. So that's why we got a lot of them doing the better ones, doing things in like psychology, sociology, stuff like that. But overall, if we look at the dating market as like back in the day, it was horse and buggy, and now it's a car, and people are still people in this scenario. Yes, a lot of people died when the cars first got out there. That doesn't mean that we throw away the car, because the car's already here.
Okay, but here's the thing with this, right? So I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from. But the problem is when you point out that, okay, there are women making trash decisions, there are also men making trash decisions. But in my opinion, when men make trash decisions, there's a heavier penalty for it, right? When you're a man, if you're a man that's in your 40s and you're selling drugs, you're considered a loser. There's no redemption for you. Okay, but we're expected to have redemption for a 40-year-old whore.
No, we still call them losers too. When they have more than one baby by different men, we call them losers. We turn them into recreational girls.
In theory, but like you said earlier, you made a case, and keep in mind, I don't have a problem with dudes being stepfathers, but you made a case about the fact that about stepfathers, and we mentioned we talked about the fact that stepfathers are considered losers for being stepfathers. So what I'm saying is that is a negative on society when you have women that and all of that comes from the sexual liberation thing. All of that comes from feminism, where you have women that are deciding, okay, we should be able to make the same decisions as men. The only problem is they're not men. And we still view them in a certain way, regardless of how progressive the world becomes. We still view it in a certain way. So that's a negative, not just for the overall society, but for them.
Okay, I'll say this and then I'll back off for somebody else. I totally agree with what you're saying, Angry Man, but here's my thoughts on this. So 400 years, right? Slavery. Yes, we already know. We're going to keep saying it because it's important, but 400 years was the downside of the black man. Let's just use this for analogy, right? Okay. So we had to evolve into what we are right now. But we're going to have to evolve again. And men, this is the truth. We're going to have to evolve again because the landscape has changed again. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's already here. So what's going to happen is once we catch up to it, the ones that are like, I don't want to work no more, they're not going to have to. The ones that want to be hoes going to be hoes. And the ones that want to stay home and be wives and were guarded by their fathers who are growing up right now, who have girls and are like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I do what I gotta do, and I'm gonna vet. I'm not gonna leave it up for society to choose for my daughter. Then it will change. But unfortunately, it's gonna be a while.
So in the analogy that you're making, are you comparing men in slavery to women in the 50s before or before suffrage? Or is that what you're comparing? Like, are you comparing the same dehumanizing situation as slavery to the dehumanizing of women?
No, I'm actually using the evolution of the black man from slavery to where we are sitting right now, to where we are actually very, very good as far as like infrastructure and getting our chance and being able to build up. And I'm saying we're going to have to evolve again.
Okay, cool. So you're coming from the position of improving, right?
Yes, correct.
So here's my question.
Adaptation, actually. Sorry.
Adaptation.
Jamie,
okay, cool.
The evolution of man in general?
Let Ingerman finish and then you get the line of questioning. Go ahead, Ingerman.
So are you saying that women today need to adapt from feminism and sexual liberation?
Yes, I'm saying the feminism started one way and now it's become kind of perverted into this weird thing. They don't even know what it is, but it's going to evolve.
So then by that analogy, you're saying that feminism is a bad thing because slavery was a bad thing.
I'm saying that feminism was a necessary thing for the net worth. It was a positive for where we live, because we live in a capitalist nation.
Then that's a false equivalency, because if you're using slavery and saying, okay, we've had to evolve and we've had to improve from slavery, that's why I asked you, are you saying that they have to improve from sexual liberation and from feminism? By your analogy, that would mean that feminism and sexual liberation comparative to slavery is bad.
Now we can surmise that, but what I'm actually saying is that the feminism movement, as we all know, even you admitted, Angry Man, and appreciative of that, when it first started, we think it was a good thing. But if we really think about it, when feminism first started, it wasn't supposed to benefit black women. It wasn't supposed to benefit any other woman other than the white woman. It was going to be 100% about it, right? But it benefited because it was packaged in a certain way. But once certain rights were hit for a certain group, then I'm sorry, I'll be quick. But then once it hit a certain target, like, okay, we got what we want, then the ball dropped. And what we're seeing now is what happens when the person's supposed to get helped up the ladder and the hand gets removed. So they're in free fall, and they're going to have to figure out how to stop this fall. Now, either they're going to fall back into the arms of the men, or they're going to grab hold of something and keep going up. That's where we are right now.
Yeah. Well, I personally believe that the entire purpose of feminism was created from the top of the pyramid in order to keep the men and the women at the bottom of the pyramid at odds with each other. And I think it's doing what it was supposed to do. You know, in addition to dividing households so that there are more people to tax and all of those different things. But when we're talking about the concept of slavery and how, you know, and I'm not going to stay on that too long because that's a whole other topic. Yeah, but if we're talking about slavery and we're talking about black men improving from slavery, you're talking about them coming from a condition that was forced on them, and then them trying to improve once they were emancipated, right? But then with the women, you're talking about feminism. That wasn't something that was forced on them. That was a choice that they made. And then they got the negative results from that choice. And now they're not even, you can't improve from something if you don't think it's a problem.
I agree with that. And what I will say, just to clarify the point, I'm not saying that they are the same as far as slavery. What I'm saying is, if we're going from the black man point of view, I'm saying that we have evolved past worse. So a promiscuous woman, we will quickly be able to evolve past that and be able to identify a good woman. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that their plight is the same. I'm actually saying that men, black men in general, but men all together, you're going to have to evolve.
But would you agree that if it was not for the advent of feminism, they wouldn't have that issue in the first place? We wouldn't have the issue of women having to prove themselves to be good women, because they're not taught in the society that it's cool if they go out here and have a whole phase and be sexually promiscuous, which, by the way, contributes to the STI rate as well.
I would say, to answer your question directly, yes, there are a lot of bad things that feminism has done, but it is a byproduct. Used cars again. What are cars doing that are bad? The ozone layer. All right. They're killing people at a higher rate. But is the car a useful product? And is it something that we have to have now?
There's more benefit out of the car than the net negative, right? So yes, maybe the cars are doing some damage to the ozone, but that transportation is what makes our society be able to run, especially our infrastructure, right? So what the question becomes here is, what is the beneficial part of feminism that is worth all this trade-off? All the women being unhappy, 1 in 4 women on SSRIs. Women used to be upheld. Even what ANGRYMAN said on the one part, I don't completely agree. Women actually were more against having the right to vote. There was actually a big movement of women that were against having the right to vote because they knew what it came with and they didn't want all that. They liked the life they had. Women used to be upheld in society. They couldn't incur debt. They everything was on the responsibility of their fathers or their husbands. Like, they were upheld in society. We protected them. We didn't send them to the military. They weren't allowed. We knew that was the bottleneck of our society. I want to know what is the good that was worth all that trade-off?
The women are happy.
No, that's not even true.
They're happy. The women are having a great time.
Less happiness now.
I'm not gonna say that women are happy. It doesn't matter if about
the women are happy, bro. Y'all tripping. They're having a great time.
But they're literally
they're having a great time. They're kicking average men's ass, bro.
Can you elaborate on that, Arnold? Because you keep saying, like, as a blanket statement, the women are happy. Can you detail
the women are showing up as themselves, doing whatever they want to do, right? They have their agency, right? There are nothing stopping them from doing whatever they wanted to do, and they're succeeding at that, succeeding at making almost as much money as men, doing whatever they want to do. And then you say, oh, just because society doesn't like what they're doing, the women don't like it. The women are fine.
But the societal structure,
most women are running circles around average men.
But the societal structure, well, part of the reason these women
running circles too,
doing better, being able to manipulate an average man. Most women, right, are running circles in relationships around average men.
Okay, so that's a whole other can of worms.
And they have that agency because of feminism, right? But there's nothing stopping them from making any choice they want to make.
But when we get down to brass tacks, right? A society doesn't function because people do what they want to do.
We're not talking about society. We're talking about how women are experiencing
this.
But
women are part of the society.
You think women are as invested in society as men are?
Why are 1 in 4 women on SSRIs?
Arnold is actually right, and I let y'all kind of talk about what y'all wanted to talk. But if y'all pay attention to the prompt, is feminist good for women, not society? And I will point something. What a lot of times is good for society is terrible for men. Because men become workhorses, men become slaves to the system. Men will do a tremendous amount of things that literally goes against men's interests just to make society work.
Fatty.
Okay, well,
that doesn't fit here, Fatty, is because all of us live in society. There's no men that are gonna not benefit from a benefited society because they're part of that said society.
Absolutely not. Somebody has to carry the burden. Men are literally expendable in society. You go into war,
and we also uphold all of society, all the infrastructure.
Well, nobody's gonna disagree with any of that y'all just said. But the thing, if we're taking it back to what Fatty said, as far as is feminism good for women, we got to take the women's word for it. There are countless women complaining about their current situations, even though my man is saying that they're happy. You know, are they happy, or are they just presenting a good face? Because I see countless women complaining about it. And whenever I'm on panels with women and I tell them, oh, here we come with the feminist rhetoric, they get mad at me as if the word feminist is an ugly word.
Yeah.
So I would say don't confuse the marketing with the product. If you look at the outliners on the social media, then yeah, sure, it's going to look like a negative. But if you look at the product, women being able to own their own business, contribute to the tax base, which is really what America is all about, and to have the agency to raise their own children the way they want to, if they so choose to be actual good mothers. I mean, not saying that the kids are going to end up being better without the father, but at least they have the money to do so. That is a functional progress. And I'm not here to defend the hashtag.
80-some% of female-owned businesses fail in the first year, bro. Look it up.
And like women are self-reporting that they're unhappier.
So what?
1 in 4 women are on depression pills. Like how are you gonna just
75% aren't? Would that be Mr. Easy? Would that be the way you would do that math?
What?
That 75% aren't?
What's your point here? I don't understand.
So if 1 in 4 women are sad, that means 75% would.
4 women are on.
Is that what you're using that stat to say that 25% of women are sad?
Yeah, 1 in 4 women are on.
Even if those 25%, no matter what mistakes they made, to give them that trauma. No matter what mistakes they made, to give them that trauma. Shout out to Top Cat.
That trauma. What are you talking about, dude?
So you think that antidepressant just come out of the blue, or it's something that leads to that?
Antidepressant just comes out of the no. It's because they're fucking unhappier, dude. So they go
based on nothing, right? So you saying that these young women just grow up and just out of nowhere they get depressed? No, there are no events that happen to make them depressed.
No, there's events that happen.
There's lots of events that happen that make them depressed. Them being told they have to compete with men. That's one of them.
Don't be obtuse because we walking through a dark alley.
Okay,
right? And you understand this. I'm saying that you saying that those 25% of women who need antidepressants will be able to find a dude
if we have
whatever they want.
Okay, AC. If we have more women on depression pills now than before, does that mean more depressed women or less depressed women?
More depressed women, but most women are not depressed.
That's my point.
Most women are not depressed.
When we
you're proving our point.
Ask women,
it sounded good because somebody told you that stat a year ago and you keep using it, but you're proving the opposite point.
Let me intervene here real quick, right? Both of them are right and wrong at the same time. So happiness is self-reported. These women have no idea if they're more happy or less happy. They self-report that these women are not going to tell they are miserable. So the report of them being happier is irrelevant. The depression thing is not correct, because now people actually have more access to the doctor. They have more access to being accompanied by, like, they can actually go to places where they can be diagnosed and be medicated. I guarantee you, if we compare the number of black people depressed during slavery and the number of people depressed right now, there's way more black people depressed right now because nobody was being medicated with antidepressants during Jim Crow era, right? This is a new thing. So just because they're being more medicated doesn't mean that they actually are more depressed, because in the 60s they would not take antidepressants. They will drink themselves.
Yeah, there was different things they would take.
They would drink them. You can
There's different things they would take. So we would compare the antidepressants to the things that they would have been prescribed back then for depression.
No. Once let me correct that. And
no,
that's the
you
point.
Can't just say you're correcting it.
No, let me correct that. Because in 30 years ago, if the man was depressed, he would not go to the doctor and get the antidepressant. He will buy some alcohol. And you can compare those men and women that were medicating themselves with depression by doing anything and everything with the number of antidepressants because they did not have access to.
You're just talking about self-medicating versus being prescribed medication. That's not the same.
No, but that's the point. They didn't have access to antidepressants on the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Women today, hold on, but the women today, outside of the outside of the antidepressant medications that they're taking, they're also drinking heavily too. That was part of the study. It was part of the study talking about women having to have wine to go to sleep because of their anxiety.
Well, so the prompt is, right, is feminism good for society? Okay, we can look at it in a couple ways. We can look at the micro and say, oh, just look at the US, or we can look at the world and see. And now I just looked up 3 little lists, Google AI, so you can say it's propaganda, but these are the 3 questions I asked. It's like, which countries are least feminist? Which countries are the poorest? And then which countries
Why are you here?
Hold on. I'm not sure to answer. Can I talk? I just let you talk for 5 minutes. I let you talk for 5 minutes.
Go ahead, Gibbs. Finish your point, and then Speakeasy can answer.
Yeah, no fine. And I looked at and then which countries are based what least quality of life for women. And all 20 of these countries line up identically. The countries that are the least feminist are also the poorest, and they're also going to have the lowest quality of life for women. Y'all been talking about what is depression here for women. Well, I would say that all these women in Afghanistan that get their heads chopped off if they fucking do anything is pretty depressing for women. I would say the same thing in Yemen. I would say the same thing in Somalia. I'd say the same thing in Lebanon. All these countries on these indexes. These women are
cousins.
Hold on, these women. Okay, cool. And I hold on, and they're not feminist. We can go to Malaysia. I can look at other countries in Europe. All these countries where they don't do these things. Hold on. Well, let me finish. You said society. The prompt is society. The world is a society. We're in a global system. And here's my point: when we look at countries that have embraced feminism to some extent, they are economically better. It's just a fact, whether that's the only factor or a contributing factor. If we talk about depression, these women aren't in sex slavery. That is a good thing. I don't think you can argue sex slaves are happy. I mean, these are just
have you heard of Jeffrey Epstein?
Those
women were in sex slavery. What are you talking about? You
they were in sex slavery.
There's still slavery in America.
Not to the extent of these other places.
But here's the thing.
No, you can point to one outlier example where they're punished and prosecuted for it. Hold on, when they're usually prosecuted. Hold on, I admitted that open area just used a quick my point. Hold on, listen, Speakeasy. The only reason I'm taking so long is because
let's do this. Let him finish, and then Angryman and Easy can
reply.
I'm
sorry, Angryman. I'm trying to turn it over.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. It's fine.
When I look up these facts, and it's unequivocal fact that all these things, he's pointing to an exception that makes the rule. In America, we have sex slavery, sure, but it's prosecuted, it's hunted down, it's frowned upon. In these other countries, it's fine to do these things to women because women don't have rights, and that's anti-feminist. And I can't see how you can argue those women are happier being sold into slavery. It's just not true. But sorry.
Okay. So here's my thing, right? So nobody's in favor of any of that. Nobody's in favor of sex work, people being enslaved. Nobody's in favor of any of that, right? But you got to realize that you have depression on both ends of the spectrum. You have depression when people are in those horrible situations, but you also have depression when people are in good situations and they have added responsibility. So when you look at women in the feminist movement, they now have more added responsibility than they had before. So a lot of these women are depressed because of the added responsibility. There are women depressed because they can't find a suitable relationship. There are women that are depressed because they have way more responsibilities in addition to they have to go out into the workforce the same way men do, in addition to having to take care of home and take care of children. So you also have depression that comes from that as well.
That speaks to the evolution of what men are going to have to be forced into doing, because like you just said, if they go to work and they come home, they're not going to want to then take the responsibility of taking care of the home and working. Correct, Angry Man?
But that's the issue. Keep in mind, I'm not talking about women that are in relationships. I'm talking about women that have children and they're not in a relationship. I'm talking about the single mothers who have to go out and work, and then they have to come home and still do all of that at home too. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, respectfully, I mean, we know humanity fucks up. So we're going to have women who are going to do that, just like we got pookies that run through girls. We know that. We can't focus on this one thing and say that the whole thing is bad because we got baby mamas out here that's tired. Like, we got to look at the whole thing. We have to look at the women who have actually taken the opportunity and have actually done something with it, and who have been able to reclaim certain things like property rights, like being able to actually vote somebody in that was actually good because the woman vote actually got somebody in that was good. Like, we got to look at the total evolution of the culture. Now, I'm not saying that there ain't a lot of bad parts.
Okay, but going back to what Fatty said, he said this: the question is it a benefit to women? This is why we got off of the whether or not it benefited society, right? So when we're talking about whether or not it benefits women, right? I believe that many of the complaints women have are a result of feminism. They don't want to say it's feminism because of those benefits that you just talked about. But it's a trade-off. Everything is a trade-off. So once they became part of the feminist movement and went into the workforce and had all these added responsibilities, the women do not like the trade-off. They don't like the trade-off. So if we're talking about whether or not feminism is good for women, that's a hell of a question, because are they really happy with the trade-off? And I would say no, they're not.
Yeah, I would say that they are, because they have the option to get with a man and let a man take care of them, right? And they're choosing to
really?
Yeah, the life that you're referring to, they're choosing that over having a man take care of them.
But y'all just made the argument. Wait, y'all, hold on. Y'all got to pick a struggle, because y'all just made the argument that we live in a society now where you're gonna have to have a 2 household income.
That's the only reason, because the housing market is based on the white man and the white woman's income, and that's the ceiling now. That's the ceiling now, right? Right? Because if the white man always made more money than the black man.
I mean, we just saw him burn some money.
Then you add the white woman to that calculation. Now the ceiling goes up.
Not white.
Correct? The ceiling goes up. Now a black man and a black woman has to compete in that same exact market. That's what it is now. After feminism, because now all the women get to work. Now you're adding money onto the white man's income, who's already leading in finances.
Well, I would argue that may have been a strong argument maybe 50 years ago, but in this day and age, black men on average make maybe about 4,000 less than white men, maybe. You know what I'm saying? If that. So I don't think we're in that space anymore. So my thing is this, right? And I get what you're saying, right? When you say that the women have the option, what I'm saying is they don't have the option because of feminism, because the feminist ideology and the way they move, the way they operate, the way they speak, the way they talk, it actually discourages men from being that traditional man. You literally have men today that's saying, oh, well, if it's feminism, it's equal. They should be doing this, doing that, doing that. So you don't have
equal rights, equal lefts. You got dudes punching dicks in their mouth in public now, no problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I want to add on to what you're saying here, because you guys have both said to Angry Man now, and Jeremy just said it. Mm-hmm. Now they don't need a man. You guys have repeated that. In what world do they not need a man?
I didn't say that, so I can't argue that.
We can see we got the lights that bend the curve. Speakeasy, we know where this is going. In the relationship, they're saying to make a household, they don't need a man in their household. No, they don't.
Oh, really? Are most plumbers women? Are most construction workers women?
We're talking about everyday things. We're not talking about. That's what I knew you were going to say eventually. I know you're going to say eventually. I know what you're going to say eventually. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about society regular, everyday things.
Every day,
a woman can pay her bills by herself. She needs a plumber. Amen. That man is not. Don't get to fuck her. The plumber don't get to fuck her.
Relax, dude. Relax. You have
we saw this shit coming, bro. You're great, man. You have a heart attack. You've heard so many arguments, bro, that you starting to be a fucking robot.
Okay. Anyways.
Okay.
I know you don't have any arguments, and you're mad that I do have arguments. So
go ahead, bro. I want to hear something else somebody else said before. Go ahead.
How can they not need a man every day when the society they live in is majority held together by men? Police force.
It's the same for a woman with a husband. A woman with a husband also calls the cable man. A woman with a husband also calls a plumber. A woman with a husband also calls an electrician. A woman with a husband also goes to a mechanic. A woman with a husband gets her tire changed at Just Tires. You're full of shit, bro. You're dumb as fuck, bro. Lay off the fucking face.
Can I ask a question?
Just 1 second, friends, and I got you.
All this guy's arguments are is you're dumb. Like, how is this guy debating?
Friends, 1 second. I'll read it back to the argument, right? Wouldn't that actually make Arnold's point? Woman can use every man in society to do the dirty job while get none of the burdens. Wouldn't that
That's what I was
actually
doing, yeah.
make the point that if
no
I one
burden?
second, if I can be a hoe and empowered and do whatever I want and still
Is it
benefit
free?
from Arnold paving the streets and Jeremy being a plumber and all the men doing the societal
But
rules,
that's
I
not.
wouldn't actually that be better for a woman?
But that's not the. That's not the.
No, I'm asking, wouldn't that actually be better for a woman?
Let me debate you about it then. Fatty. Let me
No.
explain to you
Hey,
why that
friends.
makes no sense.
Friends, respectfully. I'm not motherfucking moderator of the month. Y'all know that. I'm
Right, but
letting
every
y'all talk.
time I'm in a
I'm
back
letting
and
y'all
forth,
go
you gotta
for
give me the other guy's
99%.
point for him. So let me argue it with you.
No, but that's the point. You have to listen to me too, right? Or no?
Yes, right. So
Because I already made point from your side, then nobody stopped me, right?
Yeah, can I argue it to you then?
No, I'm just asking. Wouldn't that make his point?
No, it wouldn't.
So if a woman
I
can,
explain?
if a woman, then you got it. If a woman can benefit from all the men being cops, firefighters, military, all these things, and still get same rights or even more rights than men, wouldn't that actually be a benefit from women because they get all the rights without the burden? Go ahead and interrupt
That's the part I reject when you keep saying without the burden. They still have to work, right?
Yeah, they're
They
still
can't
paying
live for
tax.
free, right?
They're still paying taxes.
Yes, right. They're still
So they're paying
taxes.
for those. They're paying for those services just like everybody else.
Right. So they didn't skip a burden. You know, the women back before feminism, those women had all those benefits and no burden. That's the difference.
They fucking crying so loud.
And then in addition to that, right? We got to talk about what the women actually want, right? And we keep skipping over the fact that women desire companionship. We cannot ignore this. They desire companionship. If they didn't desire companionship, we wouldn't see all of these arguments. And I disagree with the concept that the social media argument is an outlier. We now live in a social media age. This is where everybody goes. This is the public square that everybody goes to raise their concerns, right? So when you look at the women complaining about one of the biggest complaints is that men are not traditional anymore. Men are not like the men back in the day that were willing to take care of everything and pay for everything. Because let's be real, even if a woman's working, she does not expect to, if it was truly feminism, if feminism was truly what they're making it out to be, why haven't we seen the flip dynamic? Why haven't we seen the dynamic of the woman that's willing to work and take care of everything and the man just stay home and take care of the children?
That's not natural.
We don't have that. It's unnatural, and women do not expect men to do that. In fact, they look at men in a very negative way if they think that they can do that, right? So what we're looking at with feminism is we're looking at women, like Fatty said, they want the benefits of certain things, but they do not really want the responsibility of those things, which is the main reason why you see so many women complaining about being tired of working.
Okay, I just want to clarify. So this is what I was researching when I looked up feminism. It's the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities across all parts of life. It's like social, political ideology aimed at achieving equality in a legal, economic, that's what I hung my hat on, social and personal spheres. Are we all agreeing that that's what it is, or do we have different definitions? Because if we're arguing different definitions,
Well, no, I'd use the same definition, but like you understand what you're saying there is that feminism prioritizes female independence and sameness with men over specific female specific well-being, right?
Well, I didn't read that. What I read was the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. I'm just telling you what I researched.
It's prioritizing female independence and sameness, right? That's what it prioritizes, feminism. The sameness with men.
Are you saying sameness is the same as equality?
Yeah, equality.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
So
yes.
if it's prioritizing equality with men, that means it's not prioritizing female-specific well-beings. Do you understand? Feminism in itself is a joke. All it is trying to destroy the patriarchy. That's all the whole goal of feminism is.
Yeah, I don't think any of the guys here disagree with that. We understand that.
Then if
I'm saying,
you actually here's the thing. You actually put women.
No. We think it's a bad thing. I don't think that women are experiencing things as a bad thing.
Let me add this to what Speakeasy is saying. Let me add this to what Speakeasy is saying, right? If I'm, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. What he's saying in a nutshell is that when you have a society that is geared towards equality between men and women being the same, it puts women at a disadvantage.
100%.
It puts them at a disadvantage.
Where does that show up?
But hold on. The issue with this is, once again, when we look at the world, and you can look at like these different examples where they have had feminism, what we see is these countries perform better every single time on almost every metric, right? And so when you're saying these things like, oh, it's worse for the women, oh, they're equal, oh, the patriarchy, all these things, I understand like the idea of you want to hold on to what keeps you the power, right? But I would argue sometimes, even though like I'm conservative, but change is scary. However, I guess in this case, I've seen that women contribute a lot economically. And I think that this is a good thing, because guess what? These are jobs they can do that men now don't have to do, and we can work some other job, and we can get, like more power this way. I don't see why that's a bad thing.
Wait, hold on for a second.
Sorry, man. There's something he keeps sneaking here. He says every country with feminism is the ones doing better, not also including that those are countries with industry, those are countries with high wealth. It's not the feminism that makes those countries do good. It's because they have import and export, and they have a high wealth average.
Why was America a power in World War II?
Why it's not.
Why was America a power in World War II? It was our industry and logistics, correct? And when men went off the war, as you would propose we should, right? As a man, hold on, as you propose we should, men would go to war. We fought in World War II. Why was America so much better than everybody else? Well, it's because our industry and our logistics. Logistics, we'll grant to the men. I'll say it was all
where were the women?
The women were working in the factories, bro. Rosie the Riveter, they made up like 80% of the workforce or something crazy number like that during World War II. So they obviously can do the job that men can. And they were making bombs and bullets and tanks,
making bombs. They were putting.
But do you have any idea what history like about history? This is a historical fact.
Well, let's be real. Hold on for a second. Let's be real. Because what built America is pre-feminism, not post-feminism.
Right.
Okay, so let's be clear about that. What built America was pre-feminism. And when you said this, Admiral, it was a little bit disingenuous. You said, I get it. Change is scary. All of us were born into a post-feminist society. None of us lived in a society before feminism. So it's not about us saying that, oh, we're upset because we can no longer have what we used to have, because we never had it. We never had that, right? What we're pointing out is we're now finally starting to see the cracks in feminism, because it's been running rampant for so damn long. And when my man Arnold, he said that where does that show up? We've been talking about where that shows up. It shows up, the disadvantage shows up when you see women that are not able to get suitable mates, and then they have to go out into the workforce and do both jobs. They have to do the man's job and they have to do the woman's job as well. Right. That is a disadvantage.
Man, you just said the cracks, right? We've seen the cracks. Okay, cool. I will admit maybe feminism's gone too far in one direction right now, right? However, if you're saying the cracks, that means feminism has been a net positive overall until this point. So that would mean by the virtue the prop goes to this side over here. Just because, the cracks means that overall it's been so good. Only recently have we seen any issues at all. And like, do you see the problem with that?
Well, no, what I'm saying is you can present a new ideology. It doesn't mean you're going to see the problem with it immediately. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, it was good and now we're starting to see the cracks. No, what I'm saying is it was already a bad ideology. We're just now starting to see why it was a bad ideology. That's what I'm saying.
And that's why most women didn't want it. Most women did not want the right to vote. Most women didn't want this equality with men idea. That when we went to war and they were in the factories, guess what happened when the war was over? They all left the factories because they were just.
And there was many women depressed about that and upset. That's well documented.
Work for the men that were fighting for us. Another reason women should be staying at home, right, instead of being forced into the workforce.
Okay.
I mean, you bring that up that they got forced out. There's actually a lot of documentation showing that they were very depressed. Yeah, and they were depressed after they got forced out of their jobs.
Hold on. You saying that women are forced into the workforce?
Yes. Feminism has forced women into the workforce. Yes.
Any woman could get a man to take care of her.
That's not true.
Any woman, yes. I'm saying even if she had to share one, any woman could get a man to take care of her.
There's a possibility or a probability, Arnold.
That's a high probability. When I'm saying
I take that shit. Let me ask again, okay? Any can is a possibility, of course. I can jump from the 9th floor and not die. It's possible. But is it probable especially with the economy that y'all been talking about for the last 2 hours, is it possible that, let's say, 60% of women can get a man that can take care of them? Is that possible?
Yeah. Yes.
How?
All you have to do is live below your means and live based on his lifestyle and not what you want as a woman. If you chose to live off of his income, every woman could live without having to work.
Off my income, bro, you'd be fucking crying if you knew my income. Relax yourself there, bro.
It's not, and why is it?
I ain't the average man,
I'll give you the floor, Angry Man. I just want to be very specific about what Arnold. What is the amount of money that you would deem
average income? Average income.
You think with $55,000 a man can take care of a woman?
Yes.
Go ahead, Angry Man.
Any man living on his own, a single woman goes to live with that man, she now does not have to pay bills.
Okay, but here's the thing. No, because there's a lot of men that saying they're not gonna take care of no woman.
That's a lot of men. That's a whole different thing. That's not what I'm saying.
This is where the whole 50-50 argument keeps coming up, right? So here's the thing. My argument would be this: if feminism is so star-spangledy awesome, right? Then why are women still demanding patriarchal traditional men?
Because they want lifestyle.
But doesn't that go against feminism? That goes against the concept of a woman.
That's a choice. They get to make
that
choice.
Goes against. Well, no. Here's the thing: the argument of feminism was always that a woman shouldn't be taken care of by a man.
No, it's not.
You just sat here and said men make
Since
life
when?
easy, so women
The
don't
first
need
the
no
first
man.
wave was primarily focused on legal rights and specifically suffrage, but you already said that the right to own property.
Okay,
The
but
second wave,
famous feminists have made the argument that women can do just as much as men. They shouldn't be taken care of by a man. They shouldn't be. The whole premise is, well, why do women have to be rescued by men? We're capable.
That's not the doctrine.
I think the second wave actually says that the
you're
women
misrepresenting.
that,
You're misrepresenting the doctrine.
Right,
I'm
but
not.
Okay,
You're
hold on.
misrepresenting it.
I'm not, because I'm not giving you. Hold on. I'm not misrepresenting it because I'm telling you what they said. I'm not. This is my opinion.
Those women don't have to, right? Those women can choose to.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying, Angry Man, and I think what the issue is, honestly, is that the first wave and the second wave so far was matching the criteria of actually affecting change. I think the third wave is where you start to have an issue, and then the fourth wave is where we all can kind of agree that it's going off the rails.
Okay, let's clear this up so we can get to the beginning of feminism. The entire reason, first of all, feminism, the whole argument of feminism. Number one, it didn't, and I hate to have to go there, but it did not apply to black people. This was
I agree with that.
This was a white people thing, right? And all this was white women who were tired of not having as much power as white men.
Correct.
Even though
unattractive and gay white women.
Hold on, wait a minute.
What?
I didn't say that.
That's crazy.
I didn't say
Hold
that.
on. Slow down. Let me add this.
That's not true, Arnold.
Feminism. No, think about it, because it goes to what you were saying.
Jump down a rabbit hole. Hold on.
As far as having to, right? Think about it. A gay woman who doesn't like men, right, had to go through a man to get a bank account, to get property. She had to get a man to get those things. She needed feminism to have the option to not have to go through a man to get him. A woman who was unattractive and couldn't get a man with me, she needed feminism. Right. It was feminism is for ugly women and gay.
Couldn't get a man.
You know you're wrong now.
Just 1 second, friends. Angry Man, you have to go. Are most women ugly, Arnold?
No, most women don't need feminism. I think just a small minority of women need feminism.
No, there was another question. Are most women ugly?
No.
Okay, so
I'd have to say AC's actually right on this part. It's true. Like all the women that actually were for the, like, remember I mentioned earlier, a lot of women didn't want this, didn't want the right to vote. The women that were for it was the old ugly lesbians. That's literally who it was. It's
okay.
He's
So
not lying here. He's right.
Okay, so that is a
right.
thing. That's a thing, but that's not my argument at the moment. So
I know. I'm just saying he made
I
a
can't
good
argue
point.
that though.
He's
If it
not
was,
lying.
you
He's not
win right
lying.
Here's the thing though. Like, so when you look at here's the thing, and this is where the farce comes in, and you've had a lot of men's rights activists that have presented immaculate arguments on this, basically saying that white women during that time were very well taken care of. The only issue was they wanted more say-so in the household. They wanted more say-so in the society, right? So they had their movement, all of those different things. And the problem with it is that once you skew things in that direction, because in addition to women getting the same rights as men, they continue to get the privileges that women had before feminism, which basically tilted the scale even more in their favor, right? So then you have women in situations where they're working in, say, corporate America or whatever, right? And then instead of these companies making decisions based on sound logic, we get to the point where we're making decisions on feelings. We're making decisions on inclusivity. We're making decisions on all of these different things that are not conducive to the infrastructure. It's not
but Angry Man, y'all are bringing up this point over and over about like these women relying on men. Okay, that sounds good, right? Until you have a situation. I know this is going to be anecdotal, but the stats back this up. Okay, we can all agree lesbian couples, they seem to be the ones that have the most domestic violence. Gay couples, men and men, seem to have the least amount somehow. And then married, like couples of man and woman, have the next highest. So of those three groups, right? Now, when we have high domestic abuse, like within these groups, and we see this, women that have no income and they solely rely on the man are trapped. Over and over, we see this repeatedly. Thankfully, I've had friends that were in these situations. They had good jobs, and they were able to leave these men. And they didn't. Some of them ended up paying alimony to them. Like, I mean, and the fact is, they were able to leave because they had good jobs. Y'all are advocating for a position that's going to take away the women's power to do these things, and then they're going to force them to be in these situations. And we might as well become the Middle East. We might as well become Africa. We might as well come Asia, because guess what? These women aren't going to have any rights, and so guess what? Anything goes bad, we're just going to stone them to death.
Well, here's the thing.
What we're asking for doesn't entail what you.
Here's the thing, Gibbs. Here's the thing, Gibbs. I can't argue against that position, because if we are in a state where women can't work and their husband leaves them, they're going to be in a messed up situation, right? But that's the entire reason. But that's the entire reason. That's the entire reason for things like child support, alimony, and things of that nature, right? The problem.
What about having a second family? You think those women in the first family are happy if I have like 3 baby mamas on the side and I'm like with a woman? Like, do you think, I have to support all them at the expense of her as well? Because I have one income now. She doesn't have an income. Say I have one kid with her and I have 2 other baby mamas, right?
Well,
and I have to send them child support every month because now I have a bunch of kids. We're trying to do the replacement rate.
Look, I can't make an argument. I can't make.
I can, but you can't.
Hold on. Listen, I can't make an argument against that. I can't make an argument in favor of guys that make poor choices, right? I can't do that, right?
Poor choices.
And so there's a trade-off there, right? So, but here's where the problem comes in, right? The problem comes in where we have this society where we're supposed to be equal, but we're still treating men as if we're in a society that was pre-feminism. We're still in that. We're still in a society where we still put the burden on men when they do get into relationships. So when you have feminism where a woman can work, she can do all of these different things, but you still have the man in the same position that he was in the 50s. The problem.
Let me ask you a question, man, real quick. I don't want to interrupt, but you brought up equality. Like Kentucky, right? Kentucky right now just made it towards a no fault. Both sides are guaranteed 50%.
Just now,
right? That would be the most, and we've seen divorce rates drop dramatically. Now that would be an argument for feminism because now they are equal to men. They have responsible burdens. They might have to pay child support at an equal rate to men. This is putting them at an equal burden. That has caused divorce rates to drop dramatically. So why would you not want families to stay together? Because now it's going to be equal fault if one of them leaves.
Because it's not truly equal. If look, you would be able to make this argument and it would be a sound argument if it was truly equal. The problem is it's not truly equal. The problem is men get higher sentences when they commit crimes. Women are still getting the benefit of being women when it comes to that, right?
Well, because we commit more violent crimes.
Men in most, you say what?
It's because generally men commit more violent crimes. Like if I shoot somebody, that's going to be a higher sentence than I say, I don't know.
He's talking about for the same
That's a
crime.
truth.
Men
That's a
get
statement.
longer
That's not what he said. He's saying
sentences.
that for the same crime, men are
Oh, for the
disproportionately
same
getting
crime.
more years. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a disparity there, right? So whenever we're looking at equality, whenever we're looking at the concept of feminism and equality, the women, the overall feminist movement, they're cherry picking. They're cherry picking because right now, as we speak, like I said, there's a disparity there's sentencing disparities. When you look at domestic violence is still viewed as predominantly a male aggressor when we know it's 50-50. You have way more.
So then you're arguing for feminism. You're arguing to treat them equal to men in all these aspects.
Hold on. The show is not pro or con feminism. Is it working for women?
No, what
so
I'm
the answer,
saying.
the answer would technically be yes, because if they get the
here's
benefit
another
of
thing we
feminism
haven't even
plus what they
addressed
already
yet.
had.
So here's the irony of this. The irony of this is you guys are talking about feminism from the position of equality, but the moment I start bringing up the disparities that hurt men by and large, it's almost like we don't want to hear this conversation. So are you really for equality?
The
saying that's a good
question
thing for
wasn't
women.
about
That's a good
equality,
thing for women.
unfortunately. Would I want to have equality? Yes, but unfortunately, you actually proved.
But that's
the
what
point for us.
feminism is about, isn't it? Isn't it
So
about
that-
equality?
We can call a dog a horse, but if we still ride on it, we still ride on it. And what I'm
But
telling you is
feminism-
that's
but
gonna
it's
make it
But
for
it,
them
but,
to
but,
have.
but a horse and a dog have 4 legs and they eating shit. If we're talking about feminism, the premise of feminism is equality, and the point is you cannot have a movement saying, look, we want to have just as many rights as men, but then men still be disproportionately in situations where it's not equality.
But ANGRYMAN, don't you see the trick behind all that? Because I know you do. Because the trick behind it is, yes, we're going to pretend that that's the case, but we also know there's still going to be men who are going to have traditional things, and they're going to still give us this extra benefit. So the answer actually is yes, because not only do they get the perceived, hold on, not only do they get the perceived equal value, but they're still going to get treated like women in most situations. So yes, the answer
But
is
you
yes.
can't know. But see, this is where the problem comes in. You cannot expect me to be a man from 1950, but you get to be a woman in 2026. We can't. You're straddling the fence. You're
But we're not arguing. We're not arguing about what
you're cherry picking what should be equal. And what's happening is the only things that are being chosen as the fight for equality are the things that benefit the women by themselves. That completely destroys the entire concept of equality.
But ANGRYMAN,
Okay,
I think that's what they're saying. They're saying that feminism is not benevolent. It presents itself as a benevolent face, but it's actually, if you look behind the mask, it's kind of about woman supremacy. It's about women getting their way with whatever they want to get away. So on face value, it would be exactly about equality, but when you actually look at the mechanisms and the string about it, it's about woman. It's not about man. It's not about equality.
That's why it's problematic.
Problematic for who though? For men or for women?
For men or for women?
For all of us.
All the things
For who does it hurt worse?
For all of us.
Who does it work? Who does it hurt worse?
Hold on. Hold on. Speakeasy. Let me show you. Let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something. So, equality, women in the military, right? We end up with a weaker military. That's a problem for all of us. And see, here's the thing. This is the part y'all keep leaving out. You cannot talk about women as if they exist in a bubble separate from the rest of us. So whatever hurts us as men is going to ultimately hurt them, because regardless of how much they scream about feminism and equality, we are still the ones who maintain the infrastructure of the society that we live in. So we see these problems present themselves in all of our different institutions. We see this problem in colleges. We see this problem in corporate America. We see this problem in every industry where women are getting a supremacist benefit, and it's hurting us. And ultimately, if it hurts us men, it's going to hurt them too.
I hear what you're saying, and I want to. I'm sorry, Emma. Just let me get it out. I hear what you're saying, And I agree with you. But to be totally honest, if the prompt was, does it positively affect them more? Is it better for them? Is it good for them?
They're going to get in that instance, what we're talking about right now, they're going to get a short-term benefit for the long-term downfall for all of us.
So right now it's still a yes then.
No. Yeah, let me bring up something we haven't brought up yet. Okay. What do you think? What kind of like idea or ideology would be put out into the world that would lead to men being put into women's sports and you know, things like UFC where men are breaking women's jaws, swimming where they just dominate first place titles, all these kinds of things where women are getting positions stolen from them from men pretending to be women? What kind of ideology do you think led to that?
Radical. Well, I would argue that's not feminism. That's radical feminism, which is different.
Oh,
it's actually
radical feminism.
hold on. It's actually anti-feminist because we made these classes divisions. We made these divisions. Sure, they can, hold on.
Feminism, men and women can be equal.
I will explain that. First of all, if you are good enough in a sport as a woman, you can compete in the male leagues. And we have examples of this in the NFL. Like called D1 college sports. We have examples of this happening.
Let's get Gibbs to land, and then Speakeasy can reply.
Yeah. So what we've done right now, we made a women's league to protect women, and then if you are good enough as a woman, the men's league is open. There are reasons why in D1 football there are women that are competing in D1 wrestling. We have women that compete in the men's league. These are true statements. They are equal in those regards. Now, are they as skilled or athletic? No. I do want to address what Angry Man said real quick though about the military.
Can you address what I said?
No, one second. Gibbs, I'll give you the chance to go back, but let's not move the conversation. Let's stay here for a second.
But back to what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that you just don't know what you're talking about. That's why we have equal men's leagues where the men and women can compete, and feminist leagues, which would be whatever, where we have men going into women. That's not real feminism. That's radical feminism. Yeah, bro. Do you understand that? Have you played a D1 sport? I have, and guess what? There are women wrestlers that are at the D1 level.
Yeah,
there are D1 football players.
In 10 minutes.
I mean, sure, bro. I mean, listen. I was a D1 wrestler. You were a D1 nothing. How bet you like the way that dictates? Anyway,
okay,
boys,
cool, I don't care. You sound like some fucking failed loser. I used to be a D1 wrestler. Now I wear Joker suits on stream.
Now I have more clothes on than you made last week.
Engage with what I'm fucking saying, dude.
Yeah, and so I've engaged.
What
You made a point all night.
I've
literally made point after point after
women
point
and
back with
men
data.
can be equal.
Yes, that is the ideology. Yeah,
yes, right. So you don't think that's
thing.
what leads to fucking men being in fucking women's bathrooms, men being.
No, I would say that is a corruption of the ideology. That is what I said from the beginning. If you listen to my opener, that was literally my opener. Is that it's corrupted?
That's an easy conceit. Why are we going to spend 30 minutes fighting on this?
Yeah, exactly.
That is a negative for women. That's Why would we even argue this?
It's a negative for women.
We don't have to win every point to win.
Okay. Speakeasy.
Okay.
Even then, it's not really that big of a negative because we still
He's right on that one because again, there's the ideology that promoted equality that now makes women think they can fight a man, but like Angryman said, on the long term, is kind of flipping because now there's a term on entitled feminism called. Let me finish, please.
Is there a D1 football player woman? Have there been? And they competed in Colorado and several other schools, and they won. And those schools were winning schools.
I'm talking about
why would you want them not to be able to?
I agree with you. Female sport. Female sports.
You know, NBA is a gender-neutral sport, right, Admiral Gibbs?
No, he's not.
Sure, they're not skilled enough to get there, but if they were, they could play them.
Did you know that women could be in the NBA if they tried?
Are you totally not understanding the point that I'm making? Are you really not?
Both of y'all are agreeing with each other.
Men's sports. I said men in women's sports.
Sure, and I said that is a corruption of the ideology. That is not true feminism.
Okay, so it's a negative, right?
It's not feminism, so sure, I'm not going to grant that.
You have to answer the question.
I've already answered it 3 times. I don't know how much.
No, but there's the point. Y'all agree. Everybody. Arnold was very quick to say this is a negative part of feminism.
I also agree.
What I wanted to say is, Speakeasy is right because female sports is positive, is actually benevolent sexism. Is discrimination to put women in places that they are not qualified for. So we separated women from men.
We just agreed. We just agreed, though, Fatty, that the definition of feminism was to be equal.
If you don't let me finish, you are not going to understand what I'm saying, right?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm just saying that you are right too when Angryman said certain consequences. Feminism is walking in a way. Feminists are literally turning against the T word on the LGB. Like there's a term now called turf, where
Mm-hmm.
massive feminists are literally turning against these women that think that men should be on women's sports and all that thing, and the T is
Correct.
kind of getting excommunicated by the feminists, which kind of shows that both of y'all kind of right, but Speakeasy is right on the initial point.
And
Go
did
ahead.
you guys know that the first wave of feminists was already talking about the abolition of gender? First wave. So
Yeah.
this is feminism.
Right, but I'm saying that they and there's no way, right, that they were thinking about it the way it is right now. It's not even possible that they were thinking about it. No.
They were.
What was your
They
statement?
they didn't have RuPaul in their imagination when they made that statement.
I bet you they do.
I
There's
bet
literally
all right.
there's a famous actor from the 50s that it was a girl. It was really a boy that just had sex surgery. That's literally that was literally a thing.
There's actually a woman scholar that wrote an article, really interesting article. Did women ruin the world? Right. And in the article, she's talking about many of our industries that we have, where they have these programs that are set to basically fix the problem of a lack of women in certain industries, right? So they're forcing them to have these quotas where they have a certain amount of women in certain industries, right? She said the problem isn't with the equality. The problem is with the fact that once you get a institution that has more women in it than men, the decisions that they make in those institutions tend to be more based on feelings as opposed to just straight logic, right? Now, y'all may not think this is a problem, but depending on what industry it is, it actually creates a huge problem. This is one of the things we're dealing with when it comes to feminism, when it comes to the declining of certain industries. That's a thing.
I agree with you, but just because I agree with you on the after effect doesn't mean that I agree with you on the fact that feminism is not a net positive for them. Because if they can affect that type of change just by sneaking their way into a board and then getting enough because of feminism, because of affirmative action, because of all
that's
this
because
stuff.
of democracy.
Okay,
that's a whole nother argument, but that's a joke too.
Does democracy like feminism better than traditional values?
No, it just likes bigger numbers, right?
Okay, so who's the bigger number perception wise?
Women, it's just like voting, right? Women tend to vote with their feelings. They vote for safety, where men are voting
who are the
for
bigger
our
brackets
freedom
of
and
voting?
our country to stay the way it is.
But who's the bigger bracket for voting then?
What, sorry?
Who has the majority bracket on voting, men or women?
It's everyone can vote now, but
no, I'm saying yeah, everyone can vote now, but who votes the most?
Yeah, that's the issue with the women turnout. That's what I'm saying is that women,
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, speak. Go ahead.
It's just because they vote a majority with their feelings and for safety,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they're outnumbering the men's votes, because more of them are showing up.
Here's the catch, though, and that's the beautiful part of it. It's not good. It's not pretty. Whatever you want to say, but guess who has the power?
And for the record,
that's why they have. That's why it's a positive for them.
It's an illusion of power, and that's not
for the record. And for the record,
it can be a time step on the power. They still got it though.
And for the record, just to add to what I was saying, because someone said that most of those large companies ignore those quotas. They can't ignore those quotas, because what happens is when they ignore those quotas, women actually sue those companies. So a lot of those companies, to avoid a lawsuit, they just comply with it. You know what I'm saying? And most of the women win those cases.
I agree. Right. And you know what they're doing right now, Angry Man, in real time? They are training AI to take over those jobs, so we don't even have to worry about that. So yes, you're right. You're also right. It's a time frame on this power they got. And if they don't figure it out, it's gonna hurt everybody as a whole. But it doesn't mean that they don't have the power right now.
They don't have the power though, because at any moment, every man could say, you know what, fuck it. You're all staying in cages for the rest of fucking eternity.
But ain't nobody gonna do that. Don't speak easy. But ain't nobody gonna do that. Speak easy.
Let me ask the question that I asked Arnold, Speakeasy. Is that possible? Of course. Is that probable?
Probable?
Yes.
It depends how far you would push it, right? It happens in other countries.
Other countries got girls in,
like Admiral Gibbs was pointing out earlier, Afghanistan, Iraq, all these countries, they said, yeah, fuck you women, you get nothing.
Yeah, but that was not a man against woman, that was a man against man. right? That was kind of a
Well,
man. Like
this is a really dumb point. You're never gonna get all the men to agree. So, like, hey, could something happen? Maybe, but like, it's much more likely that women all stop having kids with us, period, than it is for us to be like, we're gonna put you in a cage and do it because, like, if I'm married and you come up to my wife and say, I'm putting you in a cage, I'm gonna fucking shoot you. That's that simple. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So first of all, neither one of those.
I mean, so this is a dumb argument that'll never happen.
Neither one of those things, in my
It's
opinion,
a dumb argument to say that men have the monopoly on force. That's a dumb.
Who here would let somebody slap their wife and put them in a cage? Raise their hand. So I know
neither one of those things. I think where we're
exactly the point.
I think where we're at currently, neither
The
one of those.
government said they were going to do that to your wife. You'd have no choice because they'd come in.
I
with
would text them. I would die
from
that
that.
happen.
No choice.
The government's not going to do that because the women.
That will be men also depend on men for their rights. I don't know if you realize that.
That will be the biggest civil war on the history of mankind.
What I'm trying to
tell
you.
Go lock your sisters and your wives and your daughters on the cage.
It's such a ludicrous argument with no basis.
You know who the red pill people are going to fight for? They're going to fight for the women. They don't want their women to be subjected.
Most men are going to fight for the woman. They're not going to fight for her.
Okay, well, look.
Let Angry Man get in here real quick.
So neither one of those things, in my opinion, are probable. Where we're at in society today, we're not going to do that. Too many men have been raised to be feminists. That's number one. And what you said, Gibbs, that's not probably. The women are not going to stop having children with men because it's
exactly.
Because it's and somebody said somebody said what is the positive of having kids? Women having kids is monetizable. It is an incentive to have children. So that's not going to happen either. The entire point
wasn't that though, Angry Man. My point was because they keep saying women have the power. It's not they have the power if they're not controlling the infrastructure, they're not controlling the force, they're not controlling any of this shit. How do they have power? I don't get that.
Yeah, they don't. They have proxy power, right?
Yeah, they illusion of power.
They have the power that's given to them by us men, right? And that's another issue that we never talk about. We never talk about the failing boys. Because we live in a society that is geared more towards feminism, boys are being left behind. And that is a major issue for any country. That's a major issue. So that's another negative. And I get y'all going to say, but is that a positive for the women? It's really not. It's really not, because when you see the women complaining about men not doing the things they used to do, that's part of it. That's part of the reason why the boys are not growing up to be these Marlboro men that the women want. They're growing up to be extremely effeminized. They're growing up to have a very skewed way of thinking. You have many men that walk around here, they believe that they should function like women because of the concept of feminism and equality.
I will make a statement and then you guys tell me if you disagree. I've been saying that feminism is the biggest religion right now in the West, and feminism actually is the most powerful movement in the West because it kind of absorbed the civil rights movement, absorbed the LGBT movement. All these groups are being controlled by women. So you are not talking about just with 50% of the population. You're talking about the men that Angry Man is saying that are woman-centric kind of, and they do the bidding for women. You're talking about the LGBT community that literally was absorbed. You're talking about the Black Lives Matter that is led by a woman and kind of like a woman-centric type of wouldn't that actually make Jeremy point? That is, even though in the future might have a terrible effects, but in 2026, wouldn't that make Jeremy point that these women are empowered not just directly, but by the influence of controlling these other control groups that usually stand to power? What do you guys think about this?
Well, they do have that power, but the problem is that power is only contingent upon us having power. It's only contingent upon if men do not maintain the structure of this society, all of that little power that they have would evaporate overnight. If we had any type of collapse or anything like that, they would have zero power.
Yeah, and I disagree with one part of how you said that, Fatty, because I think it's presented as a women-led movement, but all of its power comes from enforcement, institutions, and institutional backings that are led by men. So that's what matters, because it means that the outcomes of feminism isn't just like what women want. That's not the case. It's highly enforced and pushed out by men.
Sure.
This is what the whole starting of a feminism comes from like occultists and shit, right? Like people like sick fucking people, you know what I mean? So this is where the idea of it was, because this to destroy patriarchy is a way to make sure that like Angry Man was mentioning, everyone that's here on the bottom, the civilization, the society that keeps everything together, it keeps them rooted against each other. And that's what's happening.
Sure, you're talking about like the force doctrine. But the thing is, and once again, there's a tremendous power in influence. And even though it's determined by men, I can tell you the gender war is man against man. It's not man against woman. It's half of the is say 20% of the population that want things to go back as they used to be, against 80% of men that will literally nuke the shit out of you if you touch their daughter and tell, hey, go back to the kitchen, your sister, your wife.
Fatty, this is kind of what I was saying to you when you were bringing up the trans radical feminist versus the like whatever. And it was like, that's actually not feminism. That is men like taking over this movement. When we have a man win Woman of the Year, that's not real feminism. That's anti-feminism. And just despite how they named it, I always say Nazis are socialists, and I get told all the time, oh, that's just branding by them, you know, yada yada yada. They're a right-wing hater when they have all the economic policies of socialism. So same thing here. It's not feminism to put a man in there and take the power away from women. That's not feminism. And that's exactly what you're saying right here. Like,
yes, it is. But that's the result. Because that's how it works. Give me just 1 second and I got it. It's literally how we work. Feminism is not just a woman teaching you or telling you something. Feminism is you appropriating a tremendous amount of men and make sure they are puppets and they do their bidding. It's both of them. It's not just what is supposed to be. Feminists literally started with a bunch of women, decided to go to the man next to her and says, wouldn't be nice if we had this, wouldn't be nice if we have that. Right now is literally the same thing. You might not be a woman with power, but I guarantee you, if you have Angry Man phone, if you have Andrew Wilson phone, if you have any popular YouTuber phone that can do the bidding for you, that's a massive part of feminist or whatever you can call it, where a woman uses other men to control the narrative and to push their agenda. That's literally a part of the program. Go ahead, Angry Man, and interrupt you, please.
But the issue is, you're saying that that's not feminism, that's radical feminism. Radical feminism is the result of feminism. You couldn't have had Woman of the Year prior to feminism.
You can't separate both. That's fair. You can't separate both. You have to take the good and the bad. Yes.
And I disagree about it's radical. Like Donna Haraway is part of the first wave of feminism, was talking about transhumanism. Like this has literally been since the first wave of feminism. They've been talking about abolishing gender, transhumanism, all of this stuff. So I don't know what you mean. It's not feminism. It literally is. It's from the founders and the beginning pushers of feminism.
Yeah, we conceded on that 30 minutes ago.
I mean, yeah, and we also
Admiral
talked about
Gibbs
Jeremy
here.
said.
He's
Jeremy said, well, because
away.
I'm using the definition that we agreed on, which was what that is. We're pushing equality. We're pushing individual betterment. These are the things we talked about for women, not at the expense. We talked about equality. That's not at the expense of men, except for the fact where they had all this power. And I think that's important here. And this is why I said radical feminism, and I reject that it is feminism, because that is not giving women power. That is taking power away from them. And until you can dispute that a man taking power away from women is like somehow feminist, then that's just not true. It's a corruption of that ideology. Therefore, it is not that ideology.
No, it's
if you have a quota at
you
your company, that's
hold on. Y'all set the definitions. I didn't set the definition, to be clear.
If you have a quota at your
can't do that,
company,
Gibbs. Gibbs. That's not healthy for the debate. It's like saying,
how is it not healthy?
No, one sec. Because it's not fair. It's like saying, oh, Spider-Man with Venom on it. Like, let me finish, please. If Spider-Man has the symbiote on it and now he's the black Spider-Man, motherfucker still Spider-Man. Just because he is infected, motherfucker still Spider-Man. Just because now he's an evil version or a corrupted version, he's still Spider-Man. So if Spider-Man with Venom starts to do some dumb shit, you have to attribute the bad that he's doing because you are attributing the good that was doing too. You have to actually grab it and say feminism is the good parts and the bad parts. You can say radical feminism.
You said they're already rejecting that though. Like this is the problem. Is like words mean something.
If a company has a quota that it has to hire a certain amount of women, is that not at the expense of men? You just said it doesn't come at the expense of men.
Sure, yeah, but we're talking about whether it's good for women or not.
You just said you made a statement a minute ago that said
feminism
is about equality, not about the expense of men. And I just
then what did I say after
a feminist a policy that was at the expense of men.
So what did I say after I said that though? I said except for the fact to bring them up to equality. That's what I said right after.
So going back to that argument again, and I got to keep presenting this, right? If you have a quota in a company to where they have to hire a certain amount of women and they do it out of fear of being sued, sued into bankruptcy, they go ahead and hire those women. And then the social dynamic of the company changes to the point where they're not making the best decisions. And then that company ends up going bankrupt anyway. That's not a benefit to those women that work at that company. It's not a benefit to them. That is and not to mention the fact, look, this whole thing with co-ed things, right? You have co-ed schools. I don't believe that boys and girls should be in the same schools. They should be in separate schools, right? Part of the reason why is because the moment you introduce girls into an environment with boys, they start acting stupid. It's just a fact. They start unnecessarily trying to impress the girl by competing with each other, trying to be macho and all of these different things, right? And you see this going on in the military. I've had numerous military guys talk about the immense problems that come when they have women in there, right? Where you have these guys fighting each other over the women. You got all of these ridiculous things going on. So again, when y'all are talking about it being a positive for women, it can't be a positive for women if men are still the leaders of the society. Because if those women present problems in these arenas and it causes a problem for that overall institution, then guess what? When that thing goes down, the women go down with it.
Well, I would agree though, Angry Man. You said DEI. That's not feminism. That's a quota. Quotas are bad. I would argue that feminism is arguing they should have equal opportunity, not that they should just be gifted something. That is the difference.
Exactly, and that's the point.
The same tree though.
That's the point. That's the point. I'm so glad that you said that. And I wasn't necessarily talking about DEI, but we can include that in there as well. Here's the thing. Sure. Here's the thing, right? So you said that that's not feminism, and I agree. The concept, the face concept, the face value of it is supposed to be okay. If a woman is capable, she should have equal opportunity to get that job, right? But what feminism has done is it has created an environment where the woman gets the job even if she isn't qualified for that job. That's the problem.
Military. They have less standards for women to get into the military. So that means men that aren't reaching the standards for men aren't getting into the military, but women that aren't reaching the standards for men are getting into the military.
I agree.
That's not an equal opportunity thing. We're going to lessen the standards so that you can get in too. That's bullshit. Okay. That weakens our military.
And by the way, that also lends to my man Arnold's argument where he says women are running circles around men. No, they're not. Women are having it. The game is rigged in their favor, so it gives the appearance that they are running circles around us. They're not.
Correct.
In relationships, in relationships, they absolutely are. If you want to talk about industry, absolutely not. Right? They're not running the companies. Right? They need men to be more fair, to give them opportunities to work at home more, because the lifestyle of working in the office is not conducive to being a woman.
But even in relationships, that's a factor. Okay, because in many cases there is an advantage for women in relationships.
I don't think there's any invisible hand in relationships.
You don't think so?
What?
No. Well, if they're having an advantage,
there is no invisible hand dictating what goes on in the relationship.
Oh, really? So you have the same. So if you was in a relationship with a chick, and the two of you are working towards some goal, and she gets pregnant, and you say, well, you know what? I don't think we should have a kid right now. Do you have unilateral decision-making skills to say we're not going to have a kid right now?
There is no invisible hand. I would need an invisible hand of the government to stop her.
That's an invisible end. The laws are invisible ends. You can take it from your woman if you want to have sex with her.
That's
you
the
can
make, but there are no.
You can make her cook. Like there's an invisible end. That's literally what it is. Is if you do these things, the invisible end will punish you. You are barred from doing those.
Yeah, they're not talking about God or nothing like that, or
Yes.
like something that's
There's
intangible.
laws and regulations that protect the woman from you. Yes.
Yeah, not like mythical things or like
Most-
God.
so you saying that
Jesus.
most-
They're talking about law.
How is that to know? Marry a woman and she has the leverage because there's an invisible end that protects her against you. Yes.
So you
Yes,
so you're
that's
talking about law,
100%
right? So
correct. Yes.
so you're saying that the men not being able to use the force doctrine is the invisible hand.
The long
is the
arm
old
of the law.
is me putting a foot on the scale, meaning the man weighs more than the woman, and in natural properties, the man could do anything to the woman and make her do things, but now there's an invisible foot on the scale where the woman weighs as much or more of the man. So if the man actually does something, the woman can use the invisible end to make the man pay. It's definitely an invisible end in relationships. That's why men are complaining. If hey, Arnold, just 1 second. If me and my woman separate and I want to take my kids, who stops me? Who's going? She going to stop me? I grab my kids and say they are mine. What you going to do? Right? Who is going to stop me? The invisible end. There's the government, there's the courts, there's the cops. So there's definitely an invisible end in relationships, and men are complaining about it.
What all comes down to.
I'm saying that most men.
The whole reason we all have any rights whatsoever is because there's men ready to come fuck you up if you don't abide by those rules.
And I'm saying without that, I'm saying most men don't have the
together.
Yeah, most men don't even have the instinct to enforce anything else. They're doing whatever it takes to get pussy.
Dude, that's
not. Whoa, wait.
Like that when the majority of our infrastructure, all of the majority of our military, our police force, this is all men, dude. What are you talking about?
Wait a minute. It is not box that is regulating men's behavior in relationships.
I don't know about that.
No, it's not. If you're in a relationship with a woman, first of all, box, once you're with a woman, box is not the major factor in that relationship.
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's not. It isn't, right? And I'm gonna tell you why it isn't, because the only thing better than some good pussy is some new pussy. So no, it's not. All right. What's regulating men's behavior in relationships, the reason why men don't want to get into arguments with their women is because if that argument escalates, what can they do? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing, because all she has to do is pick up that phone and call the police. You can go to jail for an argument. You can go to jail for raising your voice.
So
right, I'm saying that he's not. Yeah, he's not making her do the dishes or clean up because she might not like it and he might not get no pussy. Like,
yes.
He's saying I'm being nice to her when she has a bad attitude because I want to get pussy. I'm saying that the invisible hand
the feminist
for a dude who wants to impose.
That's the problem. That's what
I'm saying. Okay, we don't have a disagreement there, but I'm saying that I don't think it's the reason the dudes are doing it is because men are natural hunters and they are doing what it takes to get to the pussy.
Hold on. Here's the problem. Your girl does not have the only pussy that exists on planet Earth. The reason why, if a dude is in a relationship, especially if he's married, and he can't get any from his wife, and he decides to try to get some somewhere else, there's going to be penalties for that. There's going to be penalties. If she finds out about it, she's going to want to get a divorce. If he goes to a sex worker, he could get prosecuted for that shit. There's so many different things. There's so many different things that ties a man's hands in a relationship, and it's not just her deciding, well, I'm going to withhold box from him.
Right.
I have a follow-up question before you go there, Arnold. I remember how the debate started. All of y'all said that women are using their pussy and weaponizing their pussy to get money. That's how it started, kind of. Right? Remember the OnlyFans stat and all those things? So, are women extremely powerful by using sex in mass to get what they want, which they do within relationships, or their power is not there because of what ANGRYMAN said now.
They're not. They're not.
You're assuming that
they're
men
not
just for their
powerful.
pussies,
They're not.
Fatty.
They're not.
No,
powerful.
not just for that. There's the main
But
in-house
ANGRYMAN is
pussy.
saying that once you're with the woman, that pussy is not the
No,
end
it's
all
still
be all
powerful
anymore.
No.
Yeah,
It's still powerful for one reason, and then Arnold get the question, right?
Wife, you want her to be someone who can cook,
Sure.
clean.
I mean,
one second, Gibbs, I got you. Just let me explain this, and then y'all got it, right?
Wait. There's no men. Let's be clear about something because we have these misconceptions. There's no men that are being forced to sleep on the couch. Okay. A lot of times when those arguments happen, the dude goes on the couch because he don't want to be around her, right?
Sure.
So
why doesn't she go to the couch?
So let's be because she's goofy.
Us benevolent
No, he's
men.
stronger. He's the
Us
head of the household. Why
benevolent
is
men
not
take
her
the
going to the
lead,
house?
bro.
Because it's not a matter. Because it's not a matter. Because a man, if a man wants to get away from something, he's not going to force that person to get away from him. He's going to remove himself.
We do it all the time. We do it all the time.
If you want the job done right, there's a reason this is a saying. If you want the job done right, you do it yourself. You don't tell your woman to go do something. You do it.
That's not what our grandpas did, not great grandpas did. They said, hey, be gone. Go.
No, you're right. You know what they did? No, you're wrong there, Fatty. You know what they did? They left on Friday night, came back Monday after work and said, did you like it here without me? Think about that next time.
Wait. That's not all they did. We can't bring up. Hold on. We cannot bring up grandpas because grandpas could go upside their head.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, that's fair.
Today,
that's fair.
In this day and age, like I just said a few minutes ago, men cannot use force doctrine in a relationship because a bigger force is going to be used on them, which is the police force, right?
Correct.
So men have to negotiate with their words and shit, right? So if a man is in a situation where his wife is getting on his nerves, he's just going to remove himself from the situation because he knows that hidden hand that we were talking about is going to regulate him. It has nothing to do with her withholding box. It has nothing to do with that.
Man, you said this when we started about the like.
I apologize. I'll pull you up, Gibbs, right here. I apologize. I just want to say this. So coochie is like a two-faced state, right? You will do things to get it. And then you will do things to not lose it. I would believe. Let me finish, please.
You have to make that distinction.
No, but that's the point. I would believe that a big deterrent for you not getting rid of your woman is you don't want nobody to get her coochie, so you lock her in your house. You say, let's get married, let's get together, let's get into the relationship because it's not the fact that you want to get it, it's the fact that now you get it, you don't want other man to actually have access to it, so you lock on it and you stay with it. That's a tremendous amount of power.
Usually, but since everyone used anecdotes tonight, this what you're saying is not why I married my wife. So,
but that's not most men. You are not most men.
You think most men are marrying women for their pussy?
Most men are literally. Most men are taking the coochie out of the market because they don't want nobody to open that shit. Yes.
Wait.
Angry Man, you said this earlier. You said this earlier, Angry Man.
Let me say this. Hold on. Wait.
I got you, Gibbs. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Let me say this real quick, right? So, no, that's a misconception. Most men are marrying women because that woman gives that man the least amount of problems, and that's who he wants to be with. It's not driven based on just box, because men can get box without getting married. You don't have to get married to get box, right? So this thing with and maybe I'm just speaking from an older guy's perspective, but box does not drive men's minds as they get older. Now, when they're younger, yeah, they may want box, but they're not fixated on one box. They're not fixated on one box.
That's why they actually are. This distinction, because if you were just chasing because you just want to get laid, sure, their pussy means everything. But if you're looking for a woman because you want her to be your wife, you're not thinking, oh, well, she better be fucking great at fucking, or if not, that's it. It's over. What do you like? There's one way it happens. Dick goes in vagina, and it's usually fucking
but
right,
now
it usually feels good. You know what I'm saying? It's
but
like,
now he's your vagina. No, but now he's your vagina.
Only simps. Simps are marrying women because of their vaginas.
And most men are simps. Most men don't have to marry their woman, but because they don't want to lose them, they'll give them a immense amount of power as proof of love. I want to keep this pussy. I don't want Arnold on it, so I'm going to make everything to keep it. Most men are doing that. Most men are not, y'all.
Dude, that's what it comes
I don't think that most men.
surface.
Yeah, hold up. I don't think most men have these conservative values where, oh, this is important to me, right? That's just the normal process.
Woman, they
and
do.
that's and that's what, and I'm saying that that's what they do to keep her around. That I'm saying dudes is simped out. If dudes is simped out, and they are basically getting ran in these households by the potential of losing pussy. That's what's going on for the average man. I respect y'all, and I understand that you might not be an average man, but that is what the average man is dealing with.
ANGRYMAN, you said this earlier when we started debating, right? We started talking. You said this earlier. You brought up how like everything is kind of like sexual nature. I actually 100% agree with you, but I think when you say we're focused too much on the box, I think we're oversimplifying. I think you have to look at what the sexual nature means. The whole reason the cages is even a thing, or what they're doing in Afghanistan, what they're doing is because they're trying to protect their legacy, which is their women, which is going to be providing their future, their children, all the things y'all brought up, the birth rates. That's still box related, and we have to talk about that when we talk about the sex like aspect of this. And so when you're saying all this is motivated, sure, I think what we're talking about when we talk about feminism is giving women power over their sexuality, right? Giving power over whether they want to have kids or they have their legacy with this person, whether they want to have sex with this person, not have kids, et cetera, et cetera. And so when you're saying this, you're literally like arguing, okay, yeah, we can lock him in there, we can protect them. That's kind of what Fatty was saying. We're going to protect them from these simps or other simps that want them. That's one aspect of it. But it's also like, I want to make sure that my children are mine, right? These women want to make sure they can choose who is going to be the father of their children, right? Or like in some regards. And when they're sitting here have no rights, they don't get to choose that. They might get stuck with a lesser mate. I wouldn't want some bum that's got 5 baby mamas that never pays for them if I was a woman. I want somebody that was rich and didn't have kids of their own, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of what you're saying. And you're giving them a chance with feminism to choose their mates. And I like, oh, and get I guess this is why I think hypergamy is a good thing. If only 20% of the Giga Chats are having babies, good. The rest of y'all need to die off and stop being such baby back bitches. Like, I'm sorry, but like that's based. Like, I think we need to have survival of the fittest. And if women are choosing the best, and that's who they're fucking procreating with, that's the survival of the human species, and that's based.
But the problem is they're not choosing the best. That's the problem because of sexual
successful.
Because of sexual liberation. See, here's the thing. Women choosing the best is a woman protecting her chastity and waiting until she actually finds a suitable mate that she knows is going to take care of her children. That is the best option for her. The problem with sexual liberation is it created this environment where women think that they can sleep with as many men as they want to and still have the option to find the best mate. That's where the problem comes in, right? Because once a woman has had numerous bodies or whatever, and everybody knows it, the men who are the best men, they're not going to go that route. They're not going to marry that woman. So that's one of the issues. Now, the thing that y'all are saying about men in this thing driven by box, yeah, men do want to have sex, but I think y'all have grossly underestimated men as it pertains to marrying a woman for a box, because if that was the case, you would have way more men getting down on one knee to try to lock in one particular chick, and you don't have that, right? And as far as what Arnold is saying, I'm gonna keep it real, Arnold. I think you're speaking from the black perspective, and the reason why black men are getting ran over in their households is not because of box, it's because those boys have been raised by feminist women who have taught them to be dominated by women.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but it could come back around. It could be a catch-22, because I'm saying that they're used to dealing with that. Those things are also what they have to deal with in the relationships with the women. Like, oh, I can't say this because she's gonna, respond this way. They're used to dealing with those things and going with that back and forth with a black woman. I'm telling you, the reason why dudes is so simped out is because they're bowing to the pussy.
Well, no, that's
I'm saying, and for the record, that is a bad thing. I'm saying that's just the reality.
Well, here's the thing, right? And I think I heard you say you're not a red pill guy, and that's one hell of a red pill talking point.
I'm 100%.
Here's the thing, bro. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. And the reason why I don't agree with that as it pertains to our culture, when it comes to black culture, you have a lot of these boys that grow up in households with very domineering women, right? Mm-hmm. Now, they're not obeying those women. They don't have a sexual relationship with them. So they're not obeying them because of that. They're obeying them because they have a dominant position in that household. And what happens is when these men grow up, they go out and they find a woman like their mother, and their mother and their woman talks to them like their mother. They're adhering to what she says because that's their experience. That's how they've grown up. You feel it has nothing to do with them being afraid that they're going to lose the box or whatever, because dudes will sleep with other chicks to get boxed. There's plenty of dudes out here.
You can literally pay for it.
It's dudes that's out here that live in households where a woman runs the damn show, but they got side chicks. You feel what I'm saying? So they're not stuck. I'll give you that there are a lot of men that are driven by sex. My thing is they're not driven by sex with just one particular box. They're not so fixated on one box where it's like, if I don't marry her, I'll lose access to this particular box.
And that's an interesting point, because if you think about that in the black community, most black men are up under matriarchy, whether you like it or not. So that's why it doesn't even really make sense why they even sided with feminism in the first place. Oh, wait, it's because white women needed that structural force so that they could have the manpower behind it.
Well, it's because look, here's the thing. The natural order of things, whether y'all agree with it or not, is men being in charge. It's the natural order of things, whether we like it or not, right? It's our entire history. You feel me? The thing with white women specifically, right? They wanted to have more power. Okay, so that's why they fought for feminism, and black women jumped on that boat because they want power too. Okay, so and that's how we end up in this space where we're becoming a more female-driven society as far as ideology. And in my opinion, that result from feminism has created way more problems than we're willing to admit. Now, are women getting a benefit from that in the moment? Absolutely. But how many of you have been in relationships with women or married to a woman? She'll do something in the moment that benefits her, not realizing that it's going to have a long-term effect. Look at women with credit card debt. They'll use their credit cards and freaking buy everything they want. Yeah, like
they'll 80% of the consumer debt.
Yeah, so we know they'll do things that's going to benefit them in the moment. The only problem is when you remove the concept of the man being the leader of the household, he doesn't have the ability to regulate that, which then creates a better situation for the overall family. And we're looking at this in the overall society. Men do not have the same leverage that they had before to regulate certain things that women do. So we just have to deal with it. We're like Superman standing in the middle of that courtroom watching the damn thing burn down and can't do shit but watch it.
Do you think, ANGRYMAN?
Can I ask?
Yes, go ahead and ask a question. Yes.
Yeah. So my question is going to be for all three of you there, AC, Admiral, and Jeremy, because even if I was to agree with this, that most men today are simps and they'll cower for the box, all of this, right? And I think maybe you'll disagree, but I think you'll agree that feminism has been a cause for the men to act like this. Do you agree?
No,
that's fair.
I can agree with that. I don't think that every man that we've married is a simp.
Right. So then that would mean feminism made men into the type of men women don't want to be with.
That's fair too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that would probably be a negative for those women.
It could be a negative, yeah.
I'm still waiting on the positives.
It's a huge negative.
Well, see, it's negative, but y'all are actually functioning from the point of view that women want families and women see men more than money and some pleasure. And that's for the good woman that y'all talk about. Is, of course, I don't think most women in modernity look at men more than some sex and a lot of money and come fix my problems and then go about your life. They became the man that we're talking about on yesterday.
But there's a reason for that, right? If you have feminism come in and strip women of the desire to be in a structured family or traditional family, just sheerly look, we know how women operate. Women will go along with what other women are doing, right? They don't want to be ostracized from the group, right? So whatever the other women are doing, a lot of times they'll fall in line with that. You might have some outliers, but there's social shaming that comes with that, which is why you see women being called pick-me's and all of these different things, right? Mammies and all of that, right? So when you take away
feminism would shame this. Woman, bring me some more fucking coffee.
Absolutely. So when you remove the women's desire societally to have those type of relationships, and then they find themselves in a situation where, damn, I think I did want that type of relationship, and then they're not able to do it, you know what they're going to fall back on? The same thing they always fall back on. I'll just use my sexuality to try and get what I want.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
But doesn't that actually connect the point? Feminists make men weaker. Now women have the ability to go ahead, have a bunch of sex, a bunch of partners, all these things, and because men became weaker, now they have a safety plan on the backside where they meet Russell Wilson, and now they have the Sierra Prayer, and now feminism actually helped them because they made the men weaker, and now men accept women regardless if they are 3 baby daddies, if they are fat, if they have a bad temper. Isn't that the benefit of feminism? For women, weakening men so they can accept them on the back end.
But I don't think it weaken men.
It is a benefit if those women can duplicate that. And most women can't duplicate what Sierra did. Most women can't duplicate. You just saw Meg Thee Stallion try to duplicate that. You may have women at the lower level that are able to get men at the lower level. But let's be real about it. A lot of those women are able to get those men because those men need a place to stay. So a lot of those women are able to get those low tier men because those low tier men ain't got nothing going on. When you see the men that are actually, and I'm not talking about celebrities, but when you see the men out here in the private sector that are high achievers, those men are not wifing up those type of women.
Wait, doesn't that prove our point though, Angry Man? If these women are making enough money that they can afford to basically have a live-in fuck buddy, that they're doing what they want, they have they could get a homosexual, like a bum. This guy looks good. He might be a total bush league fuck though, work-wise, and they're making enough money that they can have kids with other dudes, and then still have their live-in fuck buddy at home whenever they want. Like that seems kind of like they're winning in that case. We're talking about what's best for women.
You're talking materialistic.
Well, no, they're not.
Sure,
is materialism the only thing that benefits them?
But hold on.
I mean, I'm talking about measurable things, and I guess unfortunately, we can measure materialism.
But even
what do you think? Hold on. What do we think the women of today's values are? What do you think their values are?
Hold on for a second. Even if you have that benefit, even if you have the material benefit, what you have to realize about those homosexual relationships, those relationships are problematic. A lot of those relationships end up domestic violence relationships. Those relationships never end up being good relationships.
And the reason that's a problem, Angry Man, this would be like saying, well, you know, I sell a bunch of heroin. I also sex traffic a bunch of chicks. But I make a bunch of money and I donate to charity. So it's actually good that I'm sex trafficking and selling heroin. That's what you guys are doing right now.
We're not debating.
Well,
no.
she gets to have all the dick she wants and
no,
all the
no,
money
no,
she
no,
wants.
no.
She's losing.
That's not what. That is not
lot.
what's being debated. Respectfully,
no, not you.
Can
What I'm saying,
Jeremy?
what Admiral Gibbs' logic was just now is that if they can afford to have a fuck buddy and do whatever they want with all this material stuff, isn't that mean it's beneficial? No. Just like if I say I can sell heroin and make a bunch of money, does that make I'm beneficial to sell heroin? I'm showing you that his logic here
it's not.
You assume
it's not a benefit for a woman. It's not a benefit for a woman to have a low tier man that's a fuck buddy, because anytime you have a situation where a man is living with a woman and it's her place and she makes all the money and all of these different things, that woman is going to be extremely domineering. And that man right there, those tend to be the most violent men, because they're not in a situation where they can take care of themselves and they end up being bitter and freaking angry. So that's not a good situation for them. Every single person that I've ever known anecdotally that were in situations like that, they always had domestic violence problems. Always.
Yeah, but they should be able to choose to make that choice, right? Like, that's kind of what I'm arguing here. Is like, listen, just because it might be like, you could argue it could be bad, and we all know these examples where it is bad, right? they should be allowed to be able to make that decision. And if they make enough money to provide for their family and have a live-in boyfriend, even if he's a piece of shit, like that's a choice they should be able to make. Before feminism, that wasn't a choice they should be able to make. And this is actually a societal good. It's allowing people to make the mistakes, and then we can learn from it. And that's why when we had too much feminism, it's gone too far to this bullshit where it's not actually feminism anymore. We see this kind of swing back the other way where they go, okay, we have the option now, and we can choose traditional values. And that's actually a good thing, is to be able to be feminist and choose the traditional instead of being forced to do it. Like, do you agree that letting somebody choose something is better than forcing them?
Wait, they still had the choice
no,
before.
because-
It just wasn't empowered the way it is today.
Yeah. So no, number one.
Do you think women couldn't work before feminism? Is that your idea right now?
Remain go.
Yeah, they generally didn't work before feminism in most countries, like worldwide, for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Number one, I don't think that the person having the choice to do something stupid is a good thing. You have the choice to do drugs. You have the choice to be an alcoholic. You have the choice to drive drunk. That doesn't make it a good thing. When you look at women having the choice to do that, if you look at the single mother rate and how high it is, you have a high single mother rate, and you have studies that show that most children that are the products of single mother households end up delinquent, end up with all sorts of issues. So you're literally creating a society.
I said generally, and you're picking like specific anecdotes, and I'm talking about the general overall welfare, and you're literally picking hyper-specific examples.
I'm saying generally
okay,
right now.
But if you generally agree, it's okay. You should be able to make your own mistake. Yes or no?
I'm saying generally, no, it's not a good thing, because generally
you make your own mistakes.
Generally, no.
Right.
Listen what I'm saying.
I don't think we should allow people in society to fuck dead bodies.
Jeremy, then correct them in the end. Let Angryman make a statement, and then Jeremy correct it in the end. Go ahead, Angryman.
No, it's not a good thing, because the women being able to make that type of decision literally destroyed our community, the Black community. It literally destroyed our community. Them being able to make those silly choices like that, because now most of the Black households, a lot of Black households are broken households. So no, it wasn't a good thing that they could make that choice. And I'm not talking about them being forced not to make the choice. So let's be clear about that. I'm not talking about force. I'm talking about us not having a society that basically encourages that or says it's a social norm that you can do that. It should be the opposite. The social norm should be picking a suitable mate, planning to have children, raising those children in a competent household so that they can then grow up to be productive members of society. That should be the norm.
Okay. Jeremy, one second, Admiral. When you said this was not the point, what do you mean by that?
When I said that, what I was referring to is we're talking about morality, and we're talking about what's the right thing. And I even concede to Angryman that if the actual prompt was what we were arguing about at first, was it good for the community? Then yes, you would have won this. Unfortunately, it's about the women. And we're not talking about whether they're morally right or wrong. We're talking about, do they have the power to affect change that would be positive in their eyes, their perception? And I know it's hard for us to wrap our heads around it, because for the most part, men think, all right, what do I do for my community, for my family, to make things go the right way? That's why we have men who will come and patrol other men. You call the police, they come and they fix it.
When you're talking about when you're talking about beneficial, you can't say it's not moral, right? When you're talking about beneficial, we're talking about something
why does benefits
good for them
have
or
to be
bad
moral?
for them.
Why does benefits have to be moral?
Because when you're invoking good and bad, you're invoking morality. That's what good and bad is.
And I'm saying
slavery was beneficial to slave owners, and it wasn't moral. There's the two are not
exactly. We're talking about statistically measurable things, and that's why morality can't be considered here.
Yes,
it was beneficial in what way? So, like, are you guys
like child labor?
Just so we don't talk past each other.
Okay.
Are you guys only arguing that there was a materialistic benefit to women? Is that your only argument here?
Materialistic, quality of life, like there's a bunch of things.
Quality
morale.
Did you just say, Fatty? Quality of life?
Yes.
Yeah, well then, yeah, we have to talk about the things that morally are bad, that affects them and the society around them.
No, because me wearing a Jordan hoodie and a Yankees that was made by a child in China benefits my quality of life, and having a smartphone and all these things, it benefits my quality of life while actually benefiting for something that is clearly immoral. But we on the West, being YouTubers, dressing well, like all of these things were created at the expense of something immoral, which is child labor. So it benefits me, but it's not moral per se.
Well, even if you're talking about quality of life, though, this is why I brought up all those other countries, because those countries don't have feminism and their quality of life is lower. A depressed woman in America is 1,000 times better off than a woman sex slave in Afghanistan, and there's really no.
This is a false equivalency, because the kid in China that's working so that you could have that smartphone, it's not gonna ultimately end up affecting you in a bad way. You're in a whole different country. You're talking about women that are in this country doing something that benefits them in the moment, that ultimately hurts all of us, including those women in the long run. So, but no, it's still not a benefit to them. Even if it's a short-lived, momentary benefit for them, it's not an overall benefit.
ANGRYMAN, if I go to 3rd Ward down here in Houston and I go to the wrong spot and they jump me and they take all my money from me, are you telling me that it's not a benefit for them to have done what they've been doing, even though it's bad?
It's a benefit.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
It's a benefit for them in the moment, but
that's what I agree on.
But ultimately, it's an overall bad benefit because you live in the same society with them.
But why did they do that though?
Listen, if I sell heroin in your neighborhood, if I sell heroin in your neighborhood, I'm going to make a whole shit ton of money. I'm going to benefit in a materialistic way.
Right.
Am I not going to affect the people of your neighborhood in a bad way?
Yes, you are.
So wait, now I want to ask you, what do you value more for the society? The one dude benefiting a bunch, or a bunch of people being negatively affected? What is better?
You are right. I agree with you, SPEAKEAZY. We value more the benefit of society, but women are not pro-society. Women are pro-woman. Women want to get away. Woman, we as men.
That's what we're saying. But there was the problem of that, but it's not that, Fatty, because every choice any one of us make is affecting the society around us.
One second. The Fifth Ward was a problem, right? They gentrified the Fifth Ward, and now it's a nicer place, right? And so, like, what happens is you have these things that are bad for one group, but it's good for other groups, and overall society improves. That's the same thing. That's why the Third Ward is bad now, and the Fifth Ward is nicer. It's not super nice, but it's compared to what it was, right? And so this is kind of the same thing. It's basically gentrification for women. Like one group is kind of getting hurt by it, but other groups are improving. In this case, it's women.
We just named off mad negatives that you guys have all agreed that are for the women. What positives have you said that outweigh any of that? Let's start with one good positive. You say that it was for women. Let's
not being stoned to death in Afghanistan. There you go.
They get to get their cake. Doesn't answer anything. Can you give me
I mean, that doesn't argument? You don't like that answer.
Giblet, give me a serious argument.
I mean, that is a serious argument that you don't have a point for it. That's why you say Can you give me a substantive argument about why it's better for women to be in oppressive countries like in Malaysia, like in Afghanistan, like in Syria, like in Afghanistan, where they don't have them? Okay, because you're saying it's not a serious argument. I'm giving examples of how feminism has helped these women.
You're comparing America to
Afghanistan. Are these societies? Are we in a globalist society? We absolutely are.
Are you fucking stupid?
So wait.
I mean, you are clearly, because you can't answer.
That's what I'm asking you.
I did engage. You just don't like my answer.
Emotional.
So listen.
I'm not emotional. You're the one who's not making substantive points.
I got you, Em.
Using data-backed points, and you're calling it emotion. This is a negative to be oppressed and be put in sex slavery, be forced to marry. These are negatives. It's really that simple. And you don't have an answer for this. This is why you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, give me the positive that is about in America how it's benefited them. Not
Yeah,
that
I mean-
we're not another country, idiot.
Okay, how about no slavery either? Abolitionists started slavery. Sojourner Weaver's one of the first abolitionists.
Slavery
She's
has
like
nothing
a
to do
favorite.
with feminism.
Hold on, it absolutely does.
No,
Early
it
abolitionists were
doesn't.
absolutely early
No, it
feminists. They
fucking
go hand in hand.
doesn't.
Hold
No,
on, you
it
can't argue.
doesn't.
Daddy literally argued earlier.
No,
We have
it
to accept all the
doesn't.
good with
And,
the bad,
I
right?
know
That was what he
nobody
said.
wants to talk about
Feminists
this.
literally
Doesn't
were the
totally
founders
have
of
to
the
do with
abolitionist
race
movement
either.
in
There
the
were
white
black
America,
slave
in the
owners
North.
in America,
This is
you
true.
moron.
Quakers.
So, like,
This
can
is
we just get
Quakers was one
past
of them.
that and
Like,
go
I'm
to
just
an
glad you
actual
don't know
fucking
history.
point?
It's clear you don't know history, and this is why you don't
One
want to
mic,
talk.
friends.
Once again,
Dude's a fucking
so here's the thing.
I mean, I'm not spurging. I'm literally
Engage
talking
with the
historical
fucking
example.
debate.
This is bunk just
Engage
because
with
you
the
don't like
debate.
the facts. Hold on. Why don't
What
you engage with
benefit
it?
to
I
the
am giving
American women has
multiple
there been to
examples,
feminism?
historical,
one
worldwide,
second.
statistical,
Gibbs,
and you have no answer for
one
any of these.
second,
And you're
Gibbs.
calling
One
emotional
second,
when you're
Gibbs.
crying like
One
a
second,
bitch.
Gibbs. Can you answer his question? Then we go to Angry Man.
Sure.
Give me a benefit of like there was a question. Give me benefits that actually got to women.
Yeah, sure. How about women having a say in the government, but when they had none before? How about being able to choose their own mate? How about being able to leave their husbands if their husbands are abusive? How about being able to work in the workforce and have money? I mean, I can keep. You asked me to give you an answer.
You asked him a question, easy. You can't. You asked him
I
a
gave
question.
you multiple. That's right there. That's just America alone. And then when we talk about other countries,
address anything
I just addressed it. You literally gave me five
You asked him a question. He was answering. Let him finish.
Filibustering, bro.
Yeah, I did not filibuster. I literally just gave you 5 examples.
Get to any of them.
But there was a question. The question has to be answered.
I
Right?
asked one. I said, give me one benefit.
And I gave you 5. And I gave you 5.
So you satisfied with
you
one second.
my question, but you're not even getting
easy.
it right.
So easy. So you satisfied with these examples?
Yeah, I gave you 5 right there.
I asked
with America alone.
to give me one example of
and I gave you 5
since we've named so many negatives.
And
we
I just gave you
go
5
from there. And then he does this. He talks while you talk, and then diatribes so that we can never get to any of that.
I gave you 5 examples. Maybe you should listen. Get a pen and paper out.
Let's start with your first one that you said that women had no talk in the government.
So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, because this is where the argument is, and to me, it's nonsensical. If you had a swimming pool, and you had 10 women in that swimming pool and 10 men in that swimming pool, and the women decided, you know what, I got to use the bathroom, but I'm not gonna get out of the pool. So all 10 of the women piss in the pool, right? And let's say that that's a benefit to them because they don't got to get out of the pool and go try to find a bathroom. The problem is, even if that's a momentary benefit for them by relieving themselves, it's still something they got to deal with because they're still in the damn pool with the rest of us.
Sure. But in society, and I would say this is the ultimate benefit. Women right now, I think all of us agree, have more powers than men, more rights than men, and less responsibilities than men in society. Wouldn't that be the ultimate benefit? I have more power than you. I don't have to enlist. My body, my choice. The court system is in my favor. The laws punish you more than punish me. I have all these rights and these things that are actually better than men, but I don't have the burden of carrying society, going to war, be all this. All of this is optional. If I want to do it, I do it. If I want to be a stay-at-home mom, I find somebody that will. If I want to be a career woman, I do it. If I change my mind, I'm not punished. While men are clearly stuck in everything that they created, because if they diverge a little bit, now they get it with the matter. That wouldn't be the ultimate benefit.
No, it would be a benefit in the mind of a woman. But in the mind of a man, we know it's not a benefit. Would we all agree that men and women are in symbiosis, that we are connected, that whatever affects one affects the other?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
I understand the argument where you're coming from.
Okay, so if
it doesn't change what it is, though.
I didn't say, look, here's the thing. You think I'm arguing that women aren't getting an immediate benefit. I'm not arguing against that.
No, I actually think we see on the same page on this one.
Yeah, I'm not arguing against that. What I'm saying is that ultimately it's a net negative for all of us, including the women. Even if they think they are momentarily benefiting from it, it is still causing ripples in the pool that we live in. It's causing effects that's going to be problematic later on.
So
here's what I say. Oh, go ahead, Shay.
I think it's a zero. When it comes to relationship, a lot of times it's a zero-sum game. If the men get a lot, the women are going to lose a lot. If the woman get a lot, the men are going to lose a lot. I don't think, for example, men being bachelors, I think is a privilege, and I think he's like you having the ability to having sex with women without giving them no commitment, no resources, no nothing. I believe is a net positive for men because now they have the choice. They don't have to get married at 21 and take care of a woman they might not even like just to have access to sex. Is that going to be better for society? I don't think so. I think men need to suffer for a society to run optimally. Men need to be on those positions of carrying the burden so society can function on a perfect state or very close to it. But if I'm talking about benefits from men, I believe again that the man that is free, the man that is free, he has way more benefit than the man that has to carry the load.
Yeah, you're right. And guess what? If all of us men thought in terms of let me do what's going to benefit me right now, we'd all be fucked.
Sure. And if everybody was a trucker,
so the problem is this is an instance where we see in real time how important the man's role is as far as infrastructure, as far as leadership, as far as all of those things. The thing that we're not recognizing is that women have an important role as well. The only reason we don't see the messed up effects of it immediately is because of how important our role is that we continue to do. So we're holding the shit together, even though feminism and women who subscribe to feminism are literally tearing it down. We're literally building the house on one side, laying the bricks, and they're tearing bricks down on the other side of the house. And that is why we're at a standstill right now as a society. If you look at America, we're no longer at the top of everything the way we used to be. We're at a standstill.
I agree, but wouldn't that be a benefit? You guys with beards build the roads and build the skyscrapers, and men with no beards live on them, drive on them, don't have to do nothing for it, right? You are building like remember those houses that kids used to build on trees? You are going to go up there with a bunch of motherfucking wood, and you are going to build as a tree house, and the princess is going to come in, climb on that shit, and saying, "This is my house. Let's play some dolls." I think the society is like that. Men definitely
men benefit from
the society.
No. Woman benefits from everything from men.
And that's fine. That's fine at the moment, until all the men with the beards get sick of it and kill the rest of it.
But that was what Speakeasy was saying. There's not ever going to be a time because half of the men with the beards are compromised. At least half of the men with the beards are playing the tea and the doll with the girlies.
I don't know about this, but I still want to address one of
You're not taking no beard slander here today.
Oh, not over
so
here.
you never play doctors and shit with the ladies. Oh,
that ain't the same as tea, and you know it.
No, I want to address. So you're earlier when the Spurg went on a fest over here and said a bunch of different arguments. One of the things he said is they had no say in government. I would like to ask Admiral Gibbs, how did women partake in passing prohibition and slavery when they had no say in government? Could you explain that to the
sure. Okay. They used their power of protest, I suppose. I guess that is the same as being able to. They had a say in government. They had so much say. They had so much say that it got repealed later, and their power didn't mean anything. Guess what? This is why voting is important. Hold on. Listen. Just because you had some say, it was very. Hold on. Hold on. You asked me a question. Do I get to answer it? Okay. You go ahead and talk. I'll wait.
Stop running away from it.
I'm not running away. Either let me answer the question or shut the fuck up.
Do you take back that women had no power and no say in government?
I would say they had a minimal say, which is almost zero. So yeah, cool.
So
they got one thing. They got one thing passed. I have plenty of power in my own area. Don't worry about me, Papa. Listen, I'm sorry that I'm better than you and I can get shit done. Like I'm
for all men to vote.
Okay, you asked me a question and it's a monologue. I got it. Okay, so do I get to talk now? Okay.
Do you know that or no?
Well, I'm going to answer. I know that what you're saying is unequivocally untrue and just a massive mischaracterization of
the history.
Fathers
wanted a full democracy. Is that right?
I'm not saying the founding fathers wanted what they wanted per se. I'm saying they had a constitutional republic, and what I am saying is we have given them the right, and women being able to vote has been an overall good thing.
These debates, bro.
Well, I mean, because clearly I bring substantive fact-based things, and this is why you got mad saying I spurred. I literally brought 5 points. He didn't bring up. He brought up 1 point saying they had. Hold on. Okay, I'm responding to you now. You got one example. You got one example. This is one example. We got pro. No, you didn't debunk shit. You have one example, which is your example. Hold on. You know the outlier proves the rule, right? You have all that. You literally disproved your own point, right? You said prohibition, which got overturned later when men didn't want to do it. And so here's the thing. Guess what? You know why? Because women couldn't vote, and then they saw it was. So the point that you're making is actually moot. And you brought up one debunking, which wasn't even a debunking, and you still have 4. So overall, once again, if this was actual ranked debate, if this was a ranked debate, those 4 points would flow across, and all we would win by default. Learn how to do debate before you say. I know you can say that. It's because I'm cooking you left and right with
stats. You look like a fucking psychopath. Go
okay, cool. And you look like a meth head. But who's talking about that? Like, really, bro? Like you.
Well, show's over. Hope y'all enjoyed it. But nah, don't dip yet. We still got them final thoughts coming in.
Y'all really tore it up tonight, huh? But don't dip just yet. Let's hear them final words. Hey, that's it. Show's done. Now shut the fuck up and let the panelists speak. It's time for final thoughts.
I ended this with a great impression from my panelists, and I don't want this to sour, so I'm going to end it right here. I think it's a great point to end it. Y'all did great. So let's kind of end it right here. Let's get the final thoughts from the man above and then the man on the bottom. I appreciate y'all friends for actually like this is I like it when it's lesser people. Next.
Did he freeze?
It sound like it.
Yeah, he cut out Fatty. We lost it.
Final thoughts, Speakeasy.
The Mossad got him.
Dang.
Go ahead. Final thoughts.
My bad. I was just want to say this. Thank you very much for being here. All the links are pinned at the top in the description too. This was a great show. Next week, I'm going to try to bring the ladies to defend the same point, okay? It was feminist, good for women. We're going to have the ladies debate the same thing. If you are interested, let us know, please. Once again, I appreciate you, Speakeasy, Gibbs, my boy Jeremy, Arnold did great, and the legend, Angry Man. Thank you very much for being here. Please, final thoughts without throwing shots to each other so we can go back and fighting again, please. Go ahead. Speakeasy and Admiral, please.
Go ahead. You can go first if you want, Gibbs.
Sure, yeah. Thanks for having Fatty. Always fun as always. I mean, it's really clear when we look at countries that aren't feminist versus countries that are. Economically, they do better. Women are happier because, listen, if you can argue that, they're depressed and on SSRIs, at least they're not being literal sex cages like some of these people talk about forced adoption proposed. I mean, it's real simple. Like, you can look at all the facts, and every single time, maybe you get some small lessers like, the trans radical femmes that want these men in sports. And once again, we agreed on a definition of what feminism was, which that goes against the definition. So it's pretty clear if you slide this across feminism net good for women specifically. We want to talk about society or we want to talk about men. Well, then that's a whole different debate. And if you like what I have to say or you hate what I have to say, find me everywhere. It's Admiral Gibbs.
Thank you very much, Gibbs. I appreciate you, sir.
Am I next here? Okay, so
yes, sir. Yes.
Tonight and since feminism began, we were told feminism is going to make women happier, freer, more fulfilled. But we've seen the complete opposite. They have more pressure, more trade-offs, and more uncertainty than they've ever had in life. So the question isn't obviously like, has feminism changed society or if women should have rights? That's never been the argument. It clearly did, and women clearly should have rights. But whether it made women better off, I think we've clearly demonstrated how we've pointed out. Me and Angry Man pointed out many negatives that the other side agreed with, and we've had hardly any positives, and every positive was refuted pretty easily. But I want to say, I get contentious in these debates, but I never hold it personal, so I don't hate anybody or none of y'all.
Today you did awesome. today was the right level of energy without going ballistic. It's like no nukes today, so it was good.
Yeah, I
Today,
appreciate you all. Definitely would have a debate with any of you again. Angry Man, I was very pleased as having you as my partner. All right, so you, good job to you as well. And yeah, if you guys like, you guys want to hear me some more, come over to the Speakeasy channel and we'll chop it up. We do lots.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. And then, Mr. Batman, Jeremy himself. Jeremy, final thoughts?
Great job, everybody. I will say, as far as the debate went, I learned some things. I hope that you guys were able to see things from a different way. But at the end of the day, it was a great show. I just also want to say the way I sign off all my stuff, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody is dealing with. It's always you versus you. So make sure you do what you need to do to make your life better than the people that are affected by it. I appreciate everybody on the panel. Shout out to Fatty, Untouchable Empire. And I'm done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't say that, but thank you for having me, Fatty. I feel like
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. And finally, AM, I really thought you didn't know that it was today. I was watching the show and I was getting nervous. It's like, this man is talking about the damn, he's not going to pull up. So I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much for pulling up. Final thoughts.
Yeah, so I appreciate you having me. Shout out to everybody on the panel. It was a great discussion. I think it's the first time I was on the panel with Speakeasy and Arnold. I've been on the panel with Gibbs before. We're still not going to see interstellar travel in our lifetime, my friend. So we still got to continue that debate one day. But yeah, for me, my issue with feminism is not the idea of women having rights. Of course, women should have rights. You know, every human should have rights. My issue is with the ideology and the damage it's done to a lot of our traditional values that were not bad, that actually benefited the society. So whenever we're talking about whether or not it was a benefit to women, I don't believe it was a benefit to women in the long run. Maybe, you know, immediate benefits, there are some, but in the long run, nah, it's still going to be a problem, because, you know, if you want to spike the punch bowl, you know, you're going to have a good time, but everybody else has to drink from that punch bowl too. So that's my position on that. But other than that, man, salute to everybody. I appreciate y'all having me. Great discussion.
I appreciate y'all, friends. And now I have to kick y'all out. I see you soon. Salute.
Psych!
Who's cutting that shit? Who's cutting that shit? Who's cutting that shit? Who's cutting that shit? Who? Yeah. OVO Sound 2025.
When voices clash, ideas crumble, and new truths rise. Welcome to Breaking Ground.
Friends, this concept is awesome. Okay, working on it. I don't think I can do the 10 people on the panel thing, but we might go for 7 and take our chances. Okay, I think today is the happy medium. Every Thursdays, the Breaking Ground. Friends, on the big channel, the main channel, go subscribe to the Wake Up Fatty channel. I'm going to start to do morning shows now. Okay, I know I've been pushing it. Sorry, Tio. But y'all going to get the star in the morning shows. So we're ready to go. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Let me thank everybody that supported the Cash App. And friends, we need $35 and it's the end of the month. If you never donated to the Team Fatty show, please do it today. That will be awesome. End of the month. We're going to go super panel tomorrow. Ladies first on Sunday. $35, $5 at a time. Let's get to $150 and get all the goals today. Is the end of the month. Shout out to my boy Bep Works in the building. He said, break the ground. Fam, thank you very much. I appreciate you, sir.
Cha-ching.
We have Wakanda, the lovely Wanda. $10 change just here. Thank you very much, Wanda, for always being nice to your boy Fatty. I appreciate it.
Cha-ching.
Untouchable Finest, Shadow Dragon TV with a $10 ball. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Cha-ching.
We have 2 OG Top Cat, the king of Discord, saying, have a good show, Fatty. I appreciate you, OG. We had a good show. We did.
Cha-ching!
And then we have my boy T.O. in the building with the big 30. Thank you so much, T.O. I appreciate you, Kia boy.
Cha-ching!
B-Mac, the sponsor of the show, says, much love, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, B-Mac, for being the sponsor of the show today. Of course, my boy JM in the building. Same great show, my friend. I truly appreciate you, JM. A day one. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Cha-ching!
And finally, on the Cash App, if you don't get a savior, Mr. Jason with the $5 ball saying 100. I appreciate you, sir.
Cha-ching!
I'm going to read the super chats and let's see if we have a hero that can save the last goal. Naruto-kun! Naruto Uzumaki became an untouchable.
Untouchable Empire, baby.
Itadakimasu, shout out to you. I appreciate it. We have Bizo with a $10 ball saying salute to Fatty and Ali and the panel.
Untouchable Empire, baby.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much for the $10 ball. Salute to you. We have my boy Twisted Pup, of course, with the 5 untouchable memberships. Thank you very much, Twisted Pup. I appreciate you, brother. And I see the Speakeasy family. Thank you very much for pulling up to the show. Did awesome. So once again, I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much for being here. Make sure you subscribe to every content creator. They are pinned in the title and they're going to be in the description too, okay? Shout out to my boy Twisted Pup. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for the 5 untouchable memberships.
I believe that there's multiple so-called black leaders who believe that they are untouchable.
Got Untouchable Empire, baby.
Thank you very much. We have the lovely Riri saying nothing. She says to support in the building. Thank you very much, Riri. We got Mac, the sponsor of the show. He says, if you don't know, construction is everyday thing. We don't know what to tell you. Tell them, Mac. I appreciate you. Tony Golden. Arnold squabbling with Easy and Taz same week. I don't know who Taz is. Taz exclusives? Damn. What happened with him and Taz? Carl Anderson, another untouchable, voiceless executive with the 5 untouchable memberships. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carl. Motherfucking appreciate you, sir. We have my boy Mac saying, since its very conception, feminism has not been good. Cammy, motherfucking loser. Beautiful panel, great show. Keep cooking. Aww. She only said that because Angryman is here. Thank you, Cammy. Rob Platinum. If a woman gives a man too many problems, X box. Mac, back again, saying if my mother was a feminist, I would disown her. Aww. Damn. Mr. 420 himself became an untouchable.
The Untouchable Empire, baby.
Welcome to the Untouchable Empire. My boy Ray Midnight is back of being an untouchable. The Admiral renew his membership.
The Untouchable Empire, baby.
And my boy Freezer with a 1, with a 2, and with the 3 memberships. Got us through all the untouchable goals. Look at you.
The Untouchable Empire, baby.
Finally, last but not least, my boy Ray Midnight, the Admiral, saying the Untouchable Empire. Salute. Arnanderson Arnold.
The Untouchable Empire, baby.
I think it was for Arnold. I don't know. I don't know what that means, Ray. Friends, I appreciate y'all. I'm sending everybody to Nino Nation. There's still 200 people watching the show. So everybody, let's go to Nino and support. Let's drop a Cash App, PayPal. Let's make sure we get him some little moolah.
and let's move along. End of the month, let's make sure we support the Untouchable Empire, Team Fatty, and the Untouchables, sending out to Nino Nation. Peace.
All the comments would be fatty McFat, fat, fatty, 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 fat, fat. Oh, look how fat he is, right? Look at that fatty. You know, haha, big fun, stupid fatty. I bet he can't go up the stairs. And.